most pressing issues, the most informed minds, free and fair exchange. Converse India with Rahul Sinha.
Good evening, you're with Breaking Ground. I'm Madhav Gopalakrishnan. First, a quick look at the top 50 stories this evening. Several BJP supporters were injured while staging a massive demonstration against the TMC under the banner Nabanna Abhiyan in Howrah. A mega face-off erupted between BJP workers and West Bengal police when they arrived for the Nabanna Abhiyan. Meanwhile, the TMC camp hit out at the BJP, calling it an event to create unrest in the state. Several BJP leaders, including BJP's West Bengal chief Sukanta Majumdar, Locket Chatterjee and Rahul Sinha, were taken into preventive custody during this protest. DMK MP A. Raja's video has sparked a massive controversy. He's heard making anti-Hindu remarks, saying that you are a Shudra till you remain Hindu, you are a prostitute's son till you remain a Shudra. Meanwhile, BJP State Chief Annamalai tweeted and condemned A. Raja's remark, said it's a sorry state of political discourse in Tamil Nadu. The DVAC conducted searches at 26 places across Chennai, Coimbatore in connection with the allegations of position abuse by former Minister SP Velumani. Tamil Nadu police has detained 7 AIADMK MLAs and several workers for protesting outside the residence of former State Minister SP Velumani in Coimbatore. 2 days ahead of Hindi Divas event, former Chief Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy wrote a letter to Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai against the celebration in the state. He said it would be an insult to Kannadigas. While BJP slammed Kumaraswamy's letter saying that festivals of all languages will be celebrated, JDS will protest against Hindi Divas on Wednesday. Following the recent flooding and large-scale damages in the city, the BBMP started an anti-encroachment drive to remove illegal structures across Bengaluru. Nalapad building, that is on the list of buildings that encroach stormwater drains, is directly linked to Congress leader N.A. Harris and his son Mohammad Nalapad. Delhi High Court fined the petitioner who moved a PIL stating that the central agencies have been misusing their powers in the alleged liquor scam. Visuals emerge of a Delhi government-run school in East Delhi where children are being made to study in makeshift porter cabins. 2 resolutions were adopted in the Telangana Assembly today, one requesting the centre to name a new parliament building after B.R. Ambedkar and the second to oppose the Central Electricity Reforms Bill 2022 while seeking its withdrawal. High tension prevailed at the Telangana Assembly after hundreds stormed the area near the Assembly. To protest against Chief Minister KCR, police had to use lathi charge to control the situation. Giving rise to a massive controversy, Bihar Agriculture Minister Sudhakar Singh during a public address admitted that corruption is widely practiced in the Agriculture Department. It's a big blow to Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar. In Daman and Diu, 15 JDU Panchayat members left the party to join the BJP. Former Congress leader Ghulam Nabi Azad said his mission is to not break other parties but to make Kashmir progress. Chief Minister of Gujarat, Bhupendra Patel, and Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav attended the MOU signing ceremony between the state government and the Vedanta Foxconn Group in Gandhinagar to set up a semiconductor factory. Congress's Bharat Jodo Yatra continued on day 7 in Kerala. The Yatra will reach Karnataka on the 30th of September. Taking a sharp drive by the Congress party over its infighting, BJP leader C.T. Ravi said that the grand old party needs to lead Congress Jodo instead of Bharat Jodo. 2 AAP MLAs, Akhilesh Pati Tripathi and Sanjeev Jha, and 15 others have been convicted in a 7-year-old case by the Rouse Avenue Court for rioting and injuring police personnel in 2015. PDP Chief Mehbooba Mufti is hit out at the BJP over the Gyanvapi case. She said that the decision would lead to a communal atmosphere, which ironically plays into BJP's agenda. The Punjab and Haryana High Court has granted bail to Kalyani Singh, accused of murdering national-level shooter and corporate lawyer Sippy Sidhu in 2015. The CBI searched 33 locations, including the premises of ex-JNK SSB chairman, over alleged irregularities in the recruitment process of sub-inspectors in the Union Territory. While Delhi is set to hear a plea seeking Qutub Minar's ownership, fresh arguments will be heard over temple restoration and worship in the complex. Senior lawyer Mukul Rohatgi is all set to return as India's Attorney General on the 1st of October, as the current AG K.K. Venugopal has refused to continue. The economic wing of the Delhi police will question Jacqueline Fernandez on Wednesday in the 200 crore rupee extortion case involving conman Sukesh Chandrasekhar. In a shocking video shared on Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot's Facebook page, his advisor was seen threatening the public of getting jailed if they did not hail Rahul Gandhi and Gehlot. Mercedes team of experts from Hong Kong has reached Mercedes showroom in Thane to investigate the car in which Cyrus Misri was killed in a road accident. A massive fire has broken out in the multi-story building in Secunderabad. 8 lives were lost and 13 were injured. A case has now been filed against the owner. Prime Minister's office has announced a compensation of 2 lakh rupees from the PM Relief Fund to the families of those who lost their lives in the accident. A compensation of 50,000 rupees has also been declared for the injured. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has visited Gorakhpur to take stock of the law and order situation in his constituency. In yet another Sartan Sanjida threat, a doctor in Ghaziabad received a death threat from a US-based mobile number warning that he would be beheaded if he continued to support Hindu outfits. SDRF has rescued 5 youth who were stranded in Dehradun's Maldevta area due to the rise in water level of the river. A farmer committed suicide in Nagpur's Narkhet Taluk due to the rising loans and barren lands due to drought. Several areas of Guwahati are waterlogged due to heavy rainfall in the region. A torrential evening downpour in the capital of the state led to knee-deep water and traffic snarls. In a shocking incident, 3 family members have died after their car collided with a truck in Punjab's Phagwara. 51 Starlink internet satellites were spotted over Lucknow today. They were spotted after the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket lifted off from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. India has logged more than 4,300 new coronavirus infections in the last 24 hours, showing a dip in daily cases. Sri Lanka takes out a victory parade on an open-top bus after the Asia Cup 2022 triumph. Armies of India and China complete disengagement process in Gogra Heights hot springs in eastern Ladakh sector. India will assume the presidency of the G20 for 1 year starting December 1st. India is expected to host over 200 G20 meetings across the country. The next G20 summit will be held in New Delhi on the 9th of September and the 10th, that is of 2023. INS Satpura has reached Darwin in Australia for participation in the multilateral exercise Kakadu hosted by the Royal Australian Navy. Minister of State for External Affairs V. Muralidharan has arrived in Nairobi in Kenya to attend the swearing-in ceremony of President-elect Dr. William Ruto. Bhutan has ratified the International Solar Alliance Framework Agreement. The Ambassador of Bhutan to India, Major General Vedsop, has handed over the instrument of ratification to Secretary E.R. Damodari. Preparations are underway in Kazakhstan's Nur Sultan as Pope Francis travels to the Muslim-majority nation. After Ukrainian troops retook a wide swath of territory from Russia, they claim to have captured many Russian soldiers. Ukraine said that it's aiming to liberate all of its territory after driving back Russian forces, but called on the West to speed up deliveries of weapons to back the advance. Congress is facing massive embarrassment after the name of Congress's leader N.A. Harris and his son Mohammad Nalapad surfaced in the encroaching of stormwater drains in Bengaluru. Last week, when rains wreaked havoc in the IT city, the entire city was flooded and Mohammad Nalapad staged a protest against the government over the poor infrastructure. But now BBMP has listed him amongst 15 encroachers. The civic body has also carried out a demolition drive against these encroachers. The BBMP has now unleashed bulldozers in the illegal properties of Mohammad Nalapad as well. Bengaluru has faced unprecedented floods and parts of the city were completely inundated with rainwater. One of the major reasons that made the flooding worse was the encroachment of the stormwater drains.
That is their claim that there is no nala in their property. As per their documents, there is no any B-Karab. But our revenue department is confirming there is a nala as per village RS map.
So you're going to go ahead with the demolition now?
Definitely.
And how much how much area of this particular property will be demolished?
This particular property, I think the length is almost 100 meters. 100 meters by 2.5 meters width demolition will be taken place.
And it's going to be happening now?
Yeah, right now. Right now we are starting and we are completing at any cost.
I don't know why it is going on, and they have not issued any notice earlier also, or they have not done any survey. Straight away after this water locked in, they have come here.
Okay.
And
have you spoken to Mr. Harris? So are you planning to move court or anything like that?
Right now nothing. Right now nothing. Just I wanted to stop this one. Now if there is anything like that, let them show us the proof. I am ready to demolish and give how much ever. But unnecessary they have demolished 10 feet like that.
Meanwhile, a war of words has erupted over this issue, and the BJP has vowed to take action against the accused irrespective of their political affiliations.
To take action against officials. Against officials, are you going to take action?
Yeah, 100%. Anybody, small, big, no. Demolition for the Bengaluru sake.
Sir, on
Bengaluru sake.
Action against officials.
Everybody.
कितना बड़े बड़े लोग हैं वो पूरा लिस्ट देना सबको, कौन इंक्रोच किया फाइंड आउट करके सबको क्लियर करेंगे. सरकार बड़ा और छोटा ऐसा डिवीजन मत करेंगे, पूरा करेंगे, साफ करेंगे. एक बार क्लियर हो जाएगा. आज का मामला नहीं है ये. एंक्रोचमेंट बीजेपी सत्ता में आने के बाद एंक्रोचमेंट किया, ऐसा है क्या?
And on the other hand, the Congress in fact has come out to say that it should be probed which government has given permissions for the construction, and for greed of few, public should not suffer.
Irrespective of whose name crops up, whose building it is, there are two things that needs to be done. One, if it is illegal, go ahead with the resolve that you claim to have. Number two, also find out how these people got permission. Who were the thing, under whose regime it happened, whether it was Congress regime or BJP regime. Who gave them the permissions? How come the officials are going scot-free for this? And why is it that for the greed of few officials, for the greed of the governments, the people of Bengaluru should suffer?
Let's take it across to our guests who are joining us. With us is S. Prakash, spokesperson of the BJP in Karnataka. Also joining us is Ajesh Kumar Shankar, lawyer as well as political analyst. Ajesh Kumar Shankar, you know, the irony of this could not be more stark. Here you have politicians who have been protesting on the streets, you know, floating on the, you know, flooded roads, so on and so forth. But the very same politicians are the ones responsible for blocking the natural flow of water, for encroaching upon stormwater drains. You know, it is a very, very serious issue, because for days we've seen people of the city suffer, whether it is, you know, adults, young children, senior citizens. They've all had to go through such a harrowing time, and it is because of nothing more than the greed of these individuals whose properties are now in fact facing demolition.
May I reply? Hello?
Yes, Ajesh, we can hear you. Please go ahead. Please respond to that question.
Right. So the first of all, rainwater has to go through a stormwater drain, and if the stormwater drains are blocked, it will go on the road. Now, what I can't understand is how can the BBMP or the revenue authorities conduct this demolishing without issuing a notice to the people? The obvious inference is that the BBMP and the revenue authorities always knew about these illegal encroachments, and they kept a blind eye to it. Because if they have to follow the rule of law, they would have to give a notice, they would have to identify which is the encroachment, and thereafter give these persons a reasonable opportunity to give show cause. The fact that BBMP or the revenue authorities do it on their own, it means they knew about it and they're keeping quiet.
But how do we know, Mr. Ajesh Kumar Shankar, that these powerful people have not misused their positions of power? They are politicians at the end of the day. They could have perhaps used their positions to browbeat the BBMP.
Is the state government less powerful than these people who own buildings? The answer is no. The fact that they have started demolishing buildings of individuals, but they have given the corporate houses show cause notice is obviously for two reasons. That the individual owner's house is demolished without notice.
Okay.
Whereas the corporate houses have...
There are double standards. There are double standards here, S. Prakash. Why did your government not act before? Why are they acting now? That's a question coming from Ajay Shankar. Please respond.
No, we saw record rainfall in Bangalore city last week. And we also witnessed how the IT corridor was inundated with the water. There was a huge cry over the illegal encroachment by high-end of IT. The water flow was restricted. Many have encroached upon the Rajakal and lake beds and built their corporate offices and houses and commercial establishments. Now the government is going after them. Government BJP had made it very clear, those who have encroached upon the Rajakal and the lake bed will not be issued any notice. We have the map with us, and based on that record, we are going to clear up all the encroachment, and the government is doing it. Now we start saying why notice was not issued, why the construction was allowed. Then should we wait for one more disaster to occur in IT corridor? Government is on right direction. They have Chief Minister on record has said nobody will be spared, and accordingly the action is going on. The state parties, the duplicity face of the Congress party is clearly exposed with the nullified properties illegally constructed and illegally encroached, and the building is constructed there. Now he was on street protesting against the flooding of Bangalore city roads. What has he got to answer about it? In fact, he should apologize to the people of Bangalore for misleading them instead of standing with the government and vacating the...
But the point is, Mr. S. Prakash, the point that many are raising is this, that if Mr. Nalapad, was seen protesting, the hypocrisy of the Congress is there for all to know. But the point is, why were these stormwater drains encroached upon? The BJP has been in power for over 3 years in Karnataka. You can put the blame at the doorstep of the Congress for sure, and certainly questions will be asked of them. But what has the BJP been doing? As the state government, is the BJP not responsible?
So I want to
I'm
ask
not saying Congress is responsible. I'm not going to politicize the issue.
That the stormwater...
I'm not going to politicize the issue.
Without conducting a survey,
For me, Bangalore image is paramount important. I don't want any politics in it. Now the government has identified the areas where the lands have been encroached upon. Now they are clearing it. Yes, in the past 3 years, we did not witness the kind of rainfall that the government, the BJP officials were sleeping over it. There is a mistake on the part of the officials also, who allowed all these constructions and looked the other way. And now they have been all caught napping, and now the people also know how they have hand in gloves with these illegal encroachers and the builders. I appeal to all those who have today suffered to take those builders to the court to demand for compensation.
No, but Ajay...
established that they are illegal encroachers?
No, but Ajay, the point is that fine, the government did not act, but these are responsible political leaders. These are people who are well-known faces of Bengaluru. From hospitals to big institutions. If they are nothing but encroachers of stormwater drains, then what kind of public service are these people engaged in?
No, my question to you is, in the background that somebody has encroached stormwater drain, how have you established who has encroached on what? That's my question. You are creating illegality over illegality.
So the BBMP's list is forged. That's what you're saying. They've issued a fake list, according to you. Is that your allegation?
I don't know. I don't know whether...
No, you don't know, or you don't know, or you're saying it's fake.
How can you make a false...
No, if you're not sure, then don't make an unreasonable allegation, sir. Are you sure that this is fake?
I am asking you, have you followed your due process before establishing which stormwater drain has been encroached upon?
That's for the BBMP to answer. That's for the BBMP to answer. All right, S. Prakash, has there been a due process before establishing which drain was properly encroached upon or not? Has there been a due process?
The due process means the government land has been encroached and the BBMP has the records to justify it. And it was clearly announced in the media that we will go after all those illegal encroachments. We will not issue any notices to clear the encroachment. We will demolish it. And the BBMP is just doing it. If the person who is holding that land who believes it is illegal and he is only the owner of it, let them produce the document to justify his ownership. The Raj Kalwe documents are with the BJP. Based upon it, they are acting upon. If somebody has got an objection to it, let them give the evidence. If the respected lawyer if he says it is illegal demolition, let him produce the document to justify that it is illegally or demolishing.
So what is section 229 of the BBMP Act? 229 of the BBMP Act, which is passed by this government, mandates that you have to issue a notice to an encroacher. Please
so, Mr. Ajay Shankar, if there's violation of law, surely you can haul them up over coals in a court. In a court of law, you're a lawyer yourself. My simple question is this. Is it, can citizens of Bangalore for over 2 decades have seen flood after flood? Can they just afford to be innocent bystanders now? Isn't it time for drastic action, Mr. Ajay Shankar? We are just allowing the netas, we are allowing the babus, we are allowing the builders to run riot in the city of Bangalore. We all know what kind of actions have been taken by property developers. Why should immediate action not be taken, no matter how powerful the individuals are, Ajay Shankar? Isn't it time for urgent measures?
No, we are representing public in public interest litigation for encroachment. But the law says, please issue a show cause notice. The law says, give them an opportunity to explain. Now, I am only requesting the government, sir, please follow due process. Remove that encroachment in accordance with law. What is wrong in that?
Okay. We have some breaking news coming. One second. We have some breaking news coming. We're told that NA Harris has responded and he says that there was no notice sent before this demolition. There is no prior notice sent before this demolition. All right. S. Prakash, now we have NA Harris himself coming on record saying that a portion of the compound wall was broken. They will talk to concerned authorities and that there was no notice given at all in this particular case. So the allegation that Mr. Ajesh is making of illegality, that's the allegation that is being made by him. That appears to be echoed by NA Harris as well. S. Prakash.
Illegally encroaching upon the government land. They did not. They just encroached upon the government land and built their buildings and roads they constructed. Compound was well erected. Did they take the permission of the BBMP then for that? Did they give any document to justify that the Raj Kalwe is their own property and they have every right to illegally occupy it? See, they are giving notice. The BBMP is very clear. We will not issue any notice to them. Giving notice, then these people go to the court, bring stay order, drag the case, hold on to it. Then public memory is so short. Once this rain recedes, they forget about it. Then they continue to occupy the illegal encroachment. Now the government is very serious about this illegal encroachment. Let them go to the court. If they have any issue, their courts are there to address their grievances, not on the channels.
I'm asking you a question, Mr. Prakash. How do you establish something is illegal? Before you call something illegal, how do you establish the portion of the land you are illegally your property similarly? In law, you should have documents to justify that land belongs to you. Justify your act. Please read the law. You don't tell me the acts. My simple question, if you have want to run the law document to justify it belongs to you, just prove it, go to the court, produce the document, take this share. So you will demolish the building of a person and then tell them to go to the court. It is happening for the last 3 years. What are you doing the building at your cost? No, fuck you justify. We don't if you demolish a building.
All right. Ajay Shankar as well as S. Prakash, we'll have to leave it there for the moment. Clearly, of course, no amount of bickering will end as far as Bengaluru's civic wars are concerned. Perhaps that's something we've been only seeing increase over the years. But let's quickly now cut across live to West Bengal, where we have seen how protesters were thrashed, lathi charge, water cannoned and tear gassed earlier today. Now, this was after a protest to Nabanna, the state secretariat, was organized by the BJP. And in fact, we have Mr. Dilip Ghosh joining us. Mr. Dilip Ghosh, we had seen mountains of cash tumbling out, heaps of gold dug up. All of this was the issue of graft that the BJP is trying to raise under the Mamata regime. What we saw today, however, was that protest, and even from yesterday we had seen कि इन्होंने कैसे आपके कार्यकर्ताओं को रोकने की कोशिश की और साथ ही साथ आज लाठी चार्ज के, टीयर गैस के, तरह के इस तरह के विजुअल्स आते दिखे हैं. तो क्या जस्टिफिकेशन है इस तरह के एक्शन का राज्य पुलिस का?
देखिए, सरकार बैकफुट पर है। ममता बनर्जी अपने एक क्लीन इमेज बनाई थी, यहाँ उनकी बड़ी बड़ी कटआउट लगती थी और सतता और प्रतीक, मतलब इमेज ऑफ ट्रूथ। आज वो कोई नहीं लगाता, क्योंकि उनके आजू बाजू के जितने लोग हैं 100 करोड़ से ऊपर मालिक हो गए। और नोटों का गठरी आप देख रहे हैं, नए नए फ्लैट्स खरीदा जा रहा है नोट रखने के लिए। और उनके जो एसएससी के चेयरमैन थे, अभी उनको रिजाइन कर दिया। उनका कहना है कम से कम 38,000 लोगों से 15 से 25 लाख रुपया लिया गया टीचर का नौकरी देने के लिए। उसमें 18,000 को नौकरी दिया गया है, बाकी को नहीं मिला है। तो आप कल्पना कर सकते हैं कितनी पैसा की हेराफेरी हुई है। और अभी कोल स्कैम, गाय तस्करी से लेकर बालू पत्थर, अभी तो और नया आ गया है साइबर क्राइम का और दूसरा चीज, जिसमें भी करोड़ों का नोट, उसमें 76 करोड़ का भी घोटाला हो सकता है। तो हजारों करोड़ का ऑलरेडी हाथ में आ गया है और प्रॉपर्टी कहाँ कहाँ किसको मालूम नहीं। उनके नेता पंचायत मेंबर से पार्लियामेंट मेंबर तक सब लोग भ्रष्ट हैं। ये जो इसके चलते भारतीय जनता पार्टी एक विपक्ष जिम्मेदारी दल है। पहली बार पिछले 25-30 साल में इतनी बड़ी संख्या लेके विपक्ष में कोई नहीं बैठा। तो स्वाभाविक लोगों ने हमको जिम्मेदारी दी है, हम इस विषय को उठा करके देश बंगाल के जो 10.5 करोड़ जनता है, उनकी जो इच्छा शक्ति है, उनकी जो कहना है, उसी विषय को उठा रहे हैं। क्योंकि लोग शर्मिंदा है। बंगाल में कभी ऐसा देखा नहीं, कभी किसी राजनेता घर में इतना पैसा, किसी पार्टी 12 साल में इतनी बड़ी भ्रष्ट पार्टी हो गई, कोई कल्पना नहीं किया। और ममता बनर्जी जिसको जानते, गरीब की घर की बेटी है, स्वच्छ है, लोगों ने उन पर भरोसा किया था। उनके अगल बगल के लोग, उनके परिवार के लोग भी इसमें लिप्त मिल रहे हैं। इसलिए हमको लोगों का जो आदेश है उसको लेकर रास्ता में उतरना पड़ेगा, वही है। और डर के हमारे ऊपर इस प्रकार आक्रमण हो रही है।
और जो सरकार कह रही है कि लॉ एंड ऑर्डर सिचुएशन को काबू लाने के लिए ये प्रिवेंटिव मेजर्स लिए गए थे, आप क्या कहेंगे इस पे?
देखिए, मैं तीसरी जो जुलूस थी उसमें सामने था। पहला जो वाटर कैनन चला मेरे सर पे आया और मेरा चश्मा वश्मा उड़ गया। लेकिन हम लोग 15-20 मीटर दूर थे, वो जो बैरिकेड था, तो हम तो वहां पहुंचे ही नहीं, हाथ ही नहीं लगाया है। तो आपको कैसे पता चल गया हम क्या करने वाले? आप रास्ता को खोद करके ड्रिल से और लोहे का पाइप से बनाए थे परमानेंट, उसमें गैल्वेनाइज किया था। तो आपको इतना डर है कि वो टूट जाएगा, चले जाएंगे हम लोग। असल में वो नहीं है, लोकतंत्र को डरने लगे हैं लोग, लोगों का जो मत है उसको डरने लगे हैं। तो लोकतंत्र से डर के जीत के आप सरकार चला रहे हैं और लोकतंत्र से डरेंगे तो कैसे आप चला सकते हैं सरकार? आपको तो रहने का हक ही नहीं है।
लेकिन क्या आपके कार्यकर्ताओं ने गाड़ियों में आग लगाई, वहां पे पत्थरबाजी भी करते दिखे थे, ऐसा आरोप है?
आप देखिए, कहीं भी गाड़ी को आग लगाते समय किसी को दिखाई दे रहा है? इतनी 50 कैमरा चारों तरफ था, कहीं दिखाई दे रहा है? पिछले बार लाल बाजार अभियान 3 साल पहले हम लोग किया था, ऐसा ही शांतिपूर्वक अरेस्ट हुआ, सब लाठी काठी जलकमान चला। लेकिन उनको लगा कि बदनाम करने कुछ चाहिए तो पुलिस वाले ही पुराना गाड़ी जला के हमको बदनाम करते हैं। अब भी ऐसे ही हुआ है। देखिए, कोई हमारे कार्यकर्ता गाड़ी नहीं जलाया, मैं जोर से बोल रहा हूं।
तो वो जो पुलिस की गाड़ी जलती दिख रही है वो पुलिस ने खुद आग लगाई, ये आपका आरोप है?
उसके बाद गाड़ी जलने लगा। हाँ जी,
जो पुलिस की गाड़ी जलते दिख रही है, आपका आरोप है कि खुद पुलिस ने आग लगाई अपनी गाड़ी पे?
पुलिस ही लगाया आग अपने गाड़ी में भाजपा को बदनाम करने के लिए। मैं चैलेंज करता हूं, दिखाइए भाजपा के कार्यकर्ता को आगे गाड़ी जलाते हुए। कोई नहीं, लोग शांति से वापस आ रहे थे। मैंने गाड़ी से निकला, 2-3 किलोमीटर लंबा जुलूस था, सियालदह स्टेशन की तरफ लोग जा रहे थे। मैं को बोलते आया कि शांति से घर जाओ, पुलिस वाले सब जगह खड़े थे, तो उसने क्यों नहीं रोका? कोई नहीं देखा। तो ये उनकी पुरानी साजिश है भाजपा को बदनाम करने की।
ये विजुअल देखिए दिलीप जी, ये विजुअल अगर आपको स्क्रीन दिख रहा होगा तो ये विजुअल में बीजेपी का झंडा पकड़ के लोग मिट्टी का तेल या किसी तरह की तेल को वहां लगा रहे हैं गाड़ी पे आग, ये विजुअल है। और ये पुलिस की गाड़ी है।
दोनों तरफ बहुत लोग खड़े हैं, बहुत पुलिस है। ये सब घटना जब हो रही है, क्यों नहीं पुलिस देख रहा है?
पीछे झंडा देखिए सर,
न्यूज बना रहे थे क्या?
पीछे बीजेपी का झंडा भी दिख रहा है सर। आप कह रहे थे कि बीजेपी के कार्यकर्ता है नहीं, अब देखिए विजुअल है, बीजेपी के कार्यकर्ता वही खड़े हैं जब गाड़ी में आग लगाई जा रही है। तो कहीं ना कहीं एक जिम्मेदार पॉलिटिकल पार्टी होने के नाते आपके कार्यकर्ताओं के इस तरह के एक्शंस भी कैप्चर हुए हैं, जो कि सही नहीं है।
मेरे वो जनता जो है वहां देखिए, रास्ते के दोनों तरफ सैकड़ों लोग खड़े हैं, वहां की जनता। वो बीजेपी के झंडा तो चारों तरफ है। मैं कह रहा हूं हमारे पार्टी के लोग ना तो पुलिस को कभी पत्थरबाजी की, पुलिस स्टेशन में घुस के मार रहे हैं, वहां टीयर गैस चला रहा है, किसने अधिकार दिया उनको?
बट ये पुलिस वाले कहां से देख रहे हैं सर? आपने अभी कहा पुलिस आग लगा रही थी, ये तो किसी भी एंगल से पुलिस नहीं लग रहे हैं, ये तो कार्यकर्ता लग रहा है,
हमारे लोग नहीं लग रहे हैं। वहां तो हजारों लोग जा रहे हैं झंडा लेके, सब पूरी रैली आ रही पीछे से, वापिस जा रहे हैं।
तो आप ही के कार्यकर्ता है ना सर?
साबित करें कि हमारे लोग लगा रहे हैं। जनता
बदनाम करने के लिए दिख रहा है सर इसमें, आपकी पार्टी का झंडा दिख रहा है इसमें।
सुनिए, रैली खत्म हुआ, मैंने भी पीछे से आया, हजारों लोग झंडा लेके वहां स्टेशन जा रहे थे, सियालदह स्टेशन, पूरी रैली जा रही थी। तो कौन कर रहे? पुलिस को देखना चाहिए, सैकड़ों पुलिस खड़ा था बगल में। उस समय क्यों नहीं बोले? पुलिस के जलते हुए देख रहे थे।
तो सर, पुलिस की गाड़ी में आग लगाई जा रही है तो पुलिस को एक्शन लेना चाहिए था। ये पुलिस की फेलियर आप देखें।
बिल्कुल लेना चाहिए।
आपके कार्यकर्ता आग लगाएंगे लेकिन वो पुलिस का फेलियर है।
बैरिकेड तक रोक सकता है पुलिस, और पुलिस की गाड़ी पड़ी है, कोई पुलिस नहीं है बगल में। क्यों ऐसा होता है? गाड़ी छोड़ के पुलिस चला जाता, ड्राइवर भी नहीं है, तो क्या मतलब है इसका?
ओके, ये बताइए सर, और आपके जो कार्यकर्ता हैं तो ये भी बताया जा रहा है कि महिला कार्यकर्ताओं पे भी हाथ उठाया गया है, क्या ये सही है?
नहीं, सबको दौड़ा दौड़ा कर मार रहे हैं। महिलाएं गिर गई, दूसरे लोग गिर गए हैं, लाठी चला है, और फिर भी लोग शांतिपूर्वक चला। रैली के बाद आधा घंटा मैंने वहां बैठ दिया, वहां था। फिर मैं जब वापस आ रहा था सारे लोग उल्टा जा रहे थे, मैंने साथ था, मैं शांति से जाने के लिए बोला। हमारे कोलकाता का 6 बार का काउंसिलर है, डिप्टी मेयर रहे मीना देवी, उनकी सर पर चोट लगी है, और कई कार्यकर्ता का सर पर, हाथ पे चोट लगा है, पांव पे चोट लगा, उनको उठाकर ले जाया जा रहा है। मेरे सामने से हुआ है। मैंने सबको बोल कर इनको हॉस्पिटल ले जाओ। ठीक है, पुलिस लाठी चलाया, कैनन चलाया, लेकिन ये मीना देवी जी जो आप फोटो दिखा रहे हैं, ये डिप्टी मेयर थी कलकत्ता की, तो ये जो बैरिकेड तक पहुंचा ही नहीं। ऐसी कौन सी बात हो गई कि आप उस पर वाटर कैनन चलाएंगे, टीयर गैस चलाएंगे, लाठी चलाएंगे और ईटा चलाएंगे? क्यों इतना डरते हैं लोकतंत्र से? लोकतांत्रिक आंदोलन को रोकने के लिए आपको बस और व्यवस्था नहीं है, पुलिस पर भरोसा नहीं है, हिंसा पुरतर हो जाते हैं।
आगे की रणनीति क्या रहेगी दिलीप घोष जी? इस तरह का बड़ा प्रोटेस्ट का तो आपने आयोजन किया, काफी आपके लीडर्स डिटेन हुए, काफी हिंसा देखने को मिली। आगे इसके आगे क्या बीजेपी की रणनीति रहेगी?
नहीं, हमारा डिमांड है कि जो टीएमसी पार्टी में जो भ्रष्टाचारी लोग हैं, आप उसको अलग करिए। आप देखिए 350 करोड़ का प्रॉपर्टी मिला है पार्थो बाबू का, उनको पार्टी से उन्होंने निकाल दिए। लेकिन 550 करोड़ से ज्यादा मिला है जो अनुव्रत मंडल, उसके बारे में चुप है। ममता बनर्जी क्या बोलती है? वीर के जैसा सम्मान देकर उन जेल से निकाल के लाएंगे। अच्छा, 550 करोड़ मिल गया तो वीर हो गया वो, उनको सम्मान देना। 350 करोड़ तो उसको पार्टी से निकाल देना। आपका पुराना साथी, पार्टी का महामंत्री, डिसिप्लिन एक्शन कमेटी के चेयरमैन, मंत्री है 12 साल से, तो ये कौन सा जस्टिस है आपका? अब तो रोज एक एमएलए एमपी और पकड़े जा रहे हैं, उनके घर से पैसा बरामद हो रही है, कितने को निकालेंगे? तो भ्रष्टाचारी लोगों को लेकर आप सरकार चला के न्याय नहीं दे सकते हैं। इसी आंदोलन को, इसी डिमांड को लेकर हम रास्ता में उतरे हैं। बंगाल के लोग जिन्होंने 1.5 साल पहले इनको चुना, आज इनसे हताश निराश है। इस प्रकार सरकार नहीं चल सकती है लोकतांत्रिक पद्धति में, तो इसलिए उनको बोलें कि आप शुद्धि करो और दोषी को सजा दो। वो नहीं देंगे। अभी तक सीआईडी चुप थी, जैसे कि सीबीआई एक्टिव हो गया, वो दूसरे घर में छापा मार के पैसा निकाले। अगर आप जानते थे क्यों नहीं किया? सीआईडी एसआईटी जितनी बार हुई, ये जो लोगों को और कवर करने के लिए किया है, किसी को सजा नहीं दिया। और उनके खुद का ऑफिसर आईपीएस राजीव कुमार भी इसमें लिप्त हैं। उनको बचाने के लिए ममता बनर्जी उनका घर गई, उनको लेकर रास्ता में धरना भी दी थी। तो इनसे क्या उम्मीद कर सकते हैं आप?
जी, साथ ही साथ जो हमने तो रिकवरीज तो देखे ही हैं, लेकिन टीएमसी का आरोप यह है कि सेंट्रल एजेंसीज का दुरुपयोग किया जा रहा है वेस्ट बंगाल में।
दुरुपयोग यही तो सदुपयोग है। घर से जाकर नोटों का बंडल निकाल के आता, गैरकानूनी ढंग से जो नोट कमाया हुआ है, यही तो काम है उनका। और कौन कर रहा है? कोर्ट मिसयूज कर रहा है। कोर्ट में लोग गए, ये जितनी हो रही है, कोल स्कैम हो, चाहे तो काउ ट्रैफिकिंग हो, या तो एसएससी जो स्कैम हो, उसमें कोर्ट का आदेश 5 आदेश आया सीबीआई इंक्वायरी का, और बीजेपी नहीं किया है, ना तो कोई सरकार किया है। पब्लिक जो इससे प्रताड़ित है, जो इससे वंचित है, प्रभावित है, वो लोग कोर्ट में गए, और कोर्ट का निर्देश से ये सारा हो रहा है। अब कोर्ट को भी अब नहीं मानेंगे, कोर्ट को बोलेंगे मिस यूज कर रही है। तो यूज क्या होता है? यही तो सही में सदुपयोग हो रही है इस एजेंसियों का। हम भी बोल रहे थे क्यों नहीं आप कुछ कर रहे हैं, अब एविडेंस के साथ सब सामने आ रहा है, आगे देखिए क्या होता है।
सर, लेकिन एक आरोप जो टीएमसी और कई ऑपोजिशन पार्टीज लगाती है केंद्र सरकार पे कि और डिसेंट को टॉलरेट नहीं किया जाता, अब वेस्ट बंगाल में क्या दिख रहा है हमें ग्राउंड पे? क्या ये डिसेंट को टॉलरेट किया जा रहा है? क्योंकि ये भी एक बहुत बड़ा इशू है कि एक लोकतांत्रिक व्यवस्था में क्या विपक्षी दलों को अपनी बात रखने का अधिकार है कि नहीं है?
किसने मना किया? पार्लियामेंट में किसने मना किया रखने के लिए? पार्लियामेंट चलने नहीं देते लोग, क्यों? रखने के लिए बात ही नहीं है, और मारपीट पर उतरवाते हैं और सस्पेंड होते हैं, मार्शल के साथ मारपीट करते हैं, दरवाजा तोड़ के इनके एमपी सस्पेंड होकर गांधी मूर्ति के सामने धरना देते हैं, पूरा चलता है जब तक। तो ये मारपीट करने का आपको अधिकार? यहां आप जहां चर्चा का जगह है लोकतंत्र में, वहां तो जाइए। विधानसभा यहां बंगाल में चलता ही नहीं है, क्योंकि उनके पास कोई कार्रवाई नहीं, कोई बिजनेस नहीं है। अभी चलेगा, देखिए 2 दिन के बाद कुछ नहीं, नाटक होता है। पहले से कोई बिल तैयार नहीं। मैं भी 3 साल विधानसभा में रहा, कोई बिल नहीं रहता है। गपशप मारो तो हंगामा हल्ला होता है। तो हमारे लोग आज संख्या में ज्यादा हैं,
राइट।
पास कोई उत्तर नहीं है। और दूसरे को, कभी राज्यपाल को, किसी को लोग और आरोपित करते हैं, बिना बिल बना के भेजते हैं राज्यपाल को कि वो स्टैम्प लगा दे। वो जब प्रश्न पूछते हैं, इनके पास कोई जवाब नहीं है, वो लटका हुआ रहता है। इस प्रकार इनएफिशिएंट सरकार चल रही है, जिनके हाथ में ना तो कोई इशू है, ना तो कोई सामने कोई रोड मैप है, चला रहा है। मैडम बोलती हैं सरकार चलाने में हमारी तो ताकत खत्म हो जाती है। सरकार चलाने के लिए
बहुत धन्यवाद दिलीप घोष जी, thank you for joining us and sharing with us your perspective. Let's also quickly go across to Dinesh Trivedi, who's joining us, former union minister, in fact, on what has transpired on ground. Mr. Dinesh Trivedi, horrific pictures that have been seen from on ground in Kolkata as far as this Nabanna Abhiyan is concerned. On ground, we've seen lathi charge, we've seen misuse, allegations of misuse of police force and excessive use of force, if I can call it that. How do you look at these pictures, and how does this really, in fact, what does this say as far as the government itself and its tolerance of dissent in West Bengal is concerned?
Madhavji, I think this is a very, very sad day today. I have been involved in public life for many, many decades. I have never seen such a scene, excepting during the CPM regime and when we were in TMC, and I think this is a repeat of the same. And what is unfortunate that a peaceful protest, and rightly so, today it is not a political party, whether it is BJP or other, it is actually the normal common people of West Bengal who have been totally frustrated, and they are on the street today. If you ask me, today BJP led the protest, which was joined by common people of West Bengal, because the kind of corruption and kind of violence which the TMC has perpetrated on the people. And if I can remind you, a year and a half back, why did I resign from Rajya Sabha when I had 5.5 years left? Precisely for this reason, because I could see what was coming, and I wish I was wrong, but unfortunately I have been vindicated. So it's a black day for democracy put together. Well, I can also take you back to the state election results. 4 states, 3 states BJP massive victory, no post-poll violence, no rigging in the booth, nobody got injured, nothing happened. But it's West Bengal. After TMC won, the Hindus were absolutely driven out of their houses.
Right.
Women were raped. So this is unfortunately the basic character of TMC. I'm unfortunately I have to say that. So I think people have seen it all, and I wish this today's day was not there at all.
But there is the other side which says that there were Karyakartas who took law and order into their own hands. They were setting vehicles on fire, indulging in arson, etc. There's another allegation also, Mr. Trivedi. There's another side as well.
They should intervene.
Yeah, Mr. Trivedi, my question is, the allegation is that there are Karyakartas, there are workers who are also engaging in arson and violence. So this was necessary to actually have this huge security deployment. Is the version coming in from the other side, that is the government side?
Yeah, so we have seen BJP is ruling so many states and the center. They have never been case where they have gone out. The people of West Bengal are peace loving, and I can tell you without any contradiction, there is no place for violence. When Naddaji's car was attacked, I was with TMC. And that's the time also I went on TV and said there is no place for violence, and I condemned that attack. So I would never support any violence, but having said that, who knows who are the people? In these kind of protests, I would not be surprised if the TMC goons themselves had joined the protest to do this violence. Everything is on camera. Let people know who did it. I am absolutely certain that BJP led absolutely peaceful protest march, which was announced days in advance, What would have happened if the administration had allowed the peaceful protests? I mean, you don't allow them all the way up to Nabanna, but somewhere near, at least 2 kilometers near, and that is where you could have stopped. But you went, the police went even 2 days before to the houses of the people and arrested them. I mean, as if you are fighting an enemy. Please understand, in politics there are no enemies in terms of your internal thing. We are all adversaries. We don't like your program. We have a right to protest on your corruption and absolutely incompetence of the government. Every citizen has a right. And today, believe me, Madhavji, the entire population of Bengal, they supported and they came out on the street in large number. If you see the cameras, they all poured. There was people all over. But entire police force, as if there was no other thing, important things in Bengal. Every police force, and what is most unfortunate, that the police have taken oath to protect the constitution. But today, I'm sad to say that quite a few of them behave like the cadre of the TMC, which is not their job. They are supposed to protect and they are supposed to be neutral. But today they were absolutely not neutral. And that's sad day for democracy.
Mr. Trivedi, double standards is also something that is being highlighted by the BJP and others who are questioning the TMC on how it organizes and participates in protests and dharnas to save democracy in the national capital, but there is no tolerance, zero tolerance for dissent in West Bengal.
No, so that's why when somebody goes out to protest in democracy, and if that protest is non-violent, I didn't see lathis or anything in the hands of the protester. We are talking about 99.9% of the people who are protesting. They were peaceful and they had a right to do it. It was announced much in advance. And I have never seen this kind of brutality of the police. I mean, this is something like the British Raj, and this is not acceptable.
Absolutely. In fact, Mr. Trivedi, we're also, playing out visuals of how police vehicles were set on fire. The TMC is alleging that the intent of the BJP was always to only spread unrest and chaos. Meanwhile, we're also being told that women party workers who participated in the Nabanna Cholo Abhiyan were beaten up by male cops. So clearly, there was a violation of the protocol as well.
There is no protocol, there is no democracy. I don't think so. They believe in these niceties. Even Suvendu Adhikari, a woman police was touching his body and he had to say that, please, let a male policeman come to me. So I think there is just police, unfortunately, at the working level, have become cadre of the TMC. And once that happens, then the law and order has totally collapsed. And police has become totally partisan. This is, in a democracy, is not acceptable. And senior police people, I do not know where they were. Were they at all there in the seats? IPS means Indian Police Service. They are not supposed to be only serving the government or the family in West Bengal. They are supposed to serve the people of the country. Absolutely without any bias or without any partisan, in a neutral manner. I'm certain if the senior policeman had gone and spoken properly with respect, this scene would not have been there at all.
All right, Mr. Trivedi, thank you very much for talking to us, for giving us your time. We are also joined by NCW Chief Rekha Sharma on the broadcast. Rekha Sharma, disturbing visuals have emerged all day long from West Bengal. Now, a woman protester, a party worker of the BJP, was seen being beaten up by male cops. The BJP has alleged that the police force in West Bengal, male cops, assaulted a woman worker, and the NCW should look into the matter, should probe the matter.
I've already seen and I've responded on the Twitter. Cognizance on this. This is a very horrible incident which came to the light, and we are taking it saddening also because the CM is a woman and she is seeing all this, that these atrocities are happening against women by the police of the state, and she's not doing anything. And we have taken cognizance, writing to the DGP and Commissioner of Police. If nothing happens, I may send a team to Kolkata.
Absolutely. Rekha Sharma, these are basic protocols that I'm sure the ground level officers, the senior officers all know, all understand. Despite that, why do we see such violation?
This is not the first time in West Bengal. It's been happening since many years. I have myself went there, I think 4 or 5 times because of these atrocities, especially after the elections, every election. So this is nothing new, and police doesn't move an inch when these things happen against women. Even after the elections, when the political vendetta was taken against women workers, nothing happened. So I'm going to take this up. But let me tell you that police, especially the DGP, cannot do anything without the orders of political leaders.
Right. So you're saying the orders came in from the top, and you will also be sending a team if no action is taken. Thank you very much, Rekha Sharma, for answering those questions and for that response. As far as a woman party worker of the BJP was seen trashed by male cops, that's what the BJP claims. A quick break. With that, news and updates will continue. politics over Varanasi District Court's decision holding the Hindu side's plea in the Gyanvapi case maintainable. A day after AIMIM Chief Asaduddin Owaisi sought to stoke fears of Babri repeat, PDP Chief Mehbooba Mufti has said that the court's decision will lead to rabble-rousing and will create a communal atmosphere which furthers BJP's agenda. Mufti went on to add that it's a sorry state of affairs that the courts are not following their own rulings.
बीजेपी के पास लोगों को देने के लिए रोजगार नहीं है, महंगाई का कोई इलाज नहीं कर सकते हैं, लोग दिन ब दिन गरीब होते जा रहे हैं। दो लोगों को छोड़ के जो दुनिया के अमीर तरीन बिजनेसमैन बन रहे हैं, बाकी सब गरीब होते जा रहे हैं। तो उससे ध्यान हटाने के लिए हिंदू मुस्लिम और उसके लिए मुसलमानों की मस्जिदें जो है तोड़ने का बड़ा अच्छा ये तरीका है। इसमें हिंदू मुस्लिम का झगड़ा कराओ, हो सकता है विश्व गुरु हम किसी और चीज में न बने, मस्जिदें तोड़ने में बन जाए।
Let him create. He'll be the first one to go inside. And we know, because there's a fundamental difference between a temple and a mosque. It was broken, there's no doubt about it. Can he say that Aurangzeb didn't break it? He has written a farman, Aurangzeb himself. And so, therefore, we have said the 40,000 temples are being demolished. We are not asking for all 40,000 to be replaced.
So it's not just Asaduddin Owaisi, there are others who are also indulging in fear-mongering on the impact that this decision will have as far as the Varanasi District Court is concerned. As of now, the court has said that the Hindu side's plea is maintainable. A quick break with that. News and updates will continue.
اینجا رام سره من اصابه
ما در تهران هستیم مشغول پیاده روی بدون حجاب.
Good evening. You're watching Explosive Exclusive with me, Kritsween Walia. Before we move on to the big story we're tracking this evening, first up, the top 50 updates. Several BJP supporters were injured while staging a massive demonstration against TMC under the banner Nabanna Abhiyan in Howrah. Mega face-off erupted between BJP workers and West Bengal police while they arrived for the yatra. Meanwhile, the TMC camp hit out at the BJP, calling it an event to create unrest in the state. Several BJP leaders, including BJP West Bengal Chief Sukanta Majumdar, Locket Chatterjee and Rahul Sinha, were taken into preventive custody during the protests. DMK MP A. Raja's video, meanwhile, has sparked a controversy. He is heard making anti-Hindu comments, said, "You are Shudra till you remain Hindu, you are a prostitute son till you remain Shudra." Meanwhile, BJP State Chief Annamalai tweeted and condemned A. Raja's remarks, said, "Sorry, state of political discourse in Tamil Nadu." The DVAC conducted searches at 26 places across Chennai and Coimbatore in connection with allegations of position abuse by former Minister S.P. Velumani. Tamil Nadu police detained 7 AIDMK MLAs and several workers for protesting outside the residence of former State Minister S.P. Velumani in Coimbatore. 2 days ahead of Hindi Divas event, former Chief Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy wrote a letter to Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai against the celebrations in the state, said it would be an insult to Kannadigas. While BJP slammed Kumaraswamy's letter saying festivals of all languages will be celebrated, JDS will protest against Hindi Divas on Wednesday. Following the recent flooding in Bengaluru, the BBMP started an anti-encroachment drive to remove illegal structures on stormwater drains across the city. Nalapad building is one such encroachment that has been demolished. Now it is directly linked to Congress leader N.A. Harris and his son Mohammad Nalapad. Delhi High Court fined the petitioner who moved a PIL stating that the central agencies have been misusing their powers in the alleged liquor scam case. Visuals emerged of Delhi government-run school in East Delhi where children are being made to study in makeshift porta cabins. 2 resolutions were adopted in Telangana Assembly today, one requesting the centre to name new parliament building after B.R. Ambedkar and the second to oppose Central Electricity Reforms Bill 2022 while seeking its withdrawal. High tension prevailed at the Telangana Assembly after hundreds stormed the area near the Assembly to protest against Chief Minister KCR. Police used lathi charge to control the situation. Giving rise to a big controversy, Bihar Agriculture Minister Sudhakar Singh during a public address admitted that the corruption is widely practiced in agricultural department in the state. Big blow to Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar in Daman and Diu as 15 JDU Panchayat members left the party to join the BJP. Former Congress leader Ghulam Nabi Azad said his mission is not to break other parties but to make Kashmir progress. Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel and Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw attended the MOU signing ceremony between the state government and Vedanta Foxconn Group in Gandhinagar to set up a semiconductor factory. Congress's Bharat Jodo Yatra continued on day 7 in Kerala. The Yatra will reach Karnataka on this 30th September. Taking a sharp jibe at the Congress party over its infighting, BJP leader C.T. Ravi said that the grand old party needs to lead Congress Jodo instead of Bharat Jodo. 2 Aam Aadmi Party MLAs, Akhilesh Pati Trupati and Sanjeev Jha, along with 15 others, have been convicted in a 7-year-old case by Rouse Avenue Court for rioting and injuring police personnel in 2015. PDP Chief Mehbooba Mufti hit out at the BJP over Gyanvapi case, said the decision would lead to a communal atmosphere which ironically plays into BJP's agenda. The Punjab and Haryana High Court has granted bail to Kalyani Singh, accused of murdering national-level shooter and corporate lawyer Sippi Sidhu in 2015. The CBI searched 33 locations, including the premises of ex-JNK SSB chairman, over alleged irregularities in the recruitment process of sub-inspectors in the Union Territory. While Delhi court is set to hear a plea seeking Qutub Minar's ownership, fresh arguments will be heard over temple restoration and worship in the complex. Senior lawyer Mukul Rohatgi is all set to return as India's Attorney General on the 1st October as the current AG. The economic wing of Delhi Police will request Jacqueline Fernandez on Wednesday in the 200 crore extortion case involving conman Sukesh Chandrasekhar. In a shocking video shared on Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot's Facebook, his advisor was seen threatening the public of getting jailed if they did not hail Rahul Gandhi and Ashok Gehlot. Mercedes' team of experts from Hong Kong reached Mercedes showroom in Thane to investigate the car after Cyrus Mistri's death. Massive fire broke out in the multi-story building in Sikandrabad. 8 lives were lost and 13 people sustained injuries. A case has been filed against the owner. PMO announced compensation of 2 lakh rupees from Prime Minister Relief Fund to the families of those who lost their lives in the accident. Compensation of 50,000 further has been declared for the injured. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath visited Gorakhpur to take stock of law and order situation in his constituency. In yet another Sar Tan Se Juda threat, a doctor in Ghaziabad received a death threat from a US-based mobile number warning that he would be beheaded if he continued to support Hindu outfits. SDRF rescued 5 youth who were stranded in Dehradun's Maldetwa area due to rise in water level of the river. Farmer committed suicide in Nagpur's Narket Taluka due to rising loans and barred lands from drought. Several areas of Guwahati are waterlogged due to heavy rainfall in the region. A torrential evening downpour in the capital of the state led to knee-deep water and traffic snarls as well. In a shocking incident, 3 family members died after their car collided with a truck in Punjab's Fagwara. 51 Starlink internet satellites were spotted over Lucknow today. They were spotted after SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket lifted off from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. And India has logged over 4,300 new COVID-19 cases in the last 24 hours, showing a dip in the daily cases. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka has taken out victory parade on an open-top bus after the Asia Cup 2022 victory. Armies of India and China complete disengagement process at the latest friction point in eastern Ladakh sector. India will assume the presidency of G20 for 1 year starting 1st of December. India is expected to host over 200 G20 meetings across the country. The next G20 summit, remember, will be in the national capital on the 9th and the 10th September next year. INS Satpura reached Darwin in Australia for participation in the multilateral exercise Kakuru hosted by the Royal Australian Navy. Ministry of State for External Affairs V. Muralidharan arrived in Nairobi in Kenya to attend the swearing-in ceremony of President-elect Dr. William Ruto. Bhutan ratified the International Solar Alliance Framework Agreement. Ambassador of Bhutan to India, Major General Westop, handed over the instrument of ratification to Secretarial Damuravi. Preparations are going on in Kazakhstan's Nur Sultan as Pope Francis travels to the Muslim-majority nation. After Ukrainian troops retook a wide swath of territory from Russia, they claim to have captured many Russian soldiers. Ukraine said it is aiming to liberate all its territory after driving back Russian forces, but called on the West to speed up deliveries of weapons to back the advance. And on to the big story this evening, viewers. Remember, the Congress party a week ago kick-started the Bharat Jodo Yatra. Soon after, Rahul Gandhi could be seen interacting with a pastor who is well known for his anti-Hindu rhetoric. And now, Congress ally and ruling party in Tamil Nadu, DMK, has snatched the spotlight from Congress and instead put it back on its anti-Hindu rant. Remember, here's a party that is increasingly being known to air their opinion against anything and everything inherent to the idea of India. One such leader in charge of this hate brigade is A. Raja. He's the same DMK Neta who in the past has threatened to disintegrate India while demanding autonomy of Tamil Nadu. He has now said something that is insulting, cheap and reeks of hatred. His words, Hindus are Shudras and Shudra is a prostitute's son. Here's that remark.
ஆனால் உச்சநீதிமன்றம் சொல்லுகிறது இல்லை, நீ கிறிஸ்தவனாக இல்லை என்றால், நீ இஸ்லாமியாக இல்லை என்றால், நீ பர்சியனாக இல்லை என்றால், நீ இந்துவாகத்தான் இருக்க வேண்டும் என்று உச்சநீதிமன்றம் சொல்லுகிறது. இப்படிப்பட்ட கொடுமை வேறு எந்த நாட்டிலாவது உண்டா? இந்துவாக இருக்கிற வரை சூத்திரன், சூத்திரனாக இருக்கிற வரை நீ விபச்சாரியின் மகன், இந்துவாக இருக்கிற வரை நீ பஞ்சவன், இந்துவாக இருக்கிற வரை நீ தீண்டத்தகாதவன். எத்தனை பேர் விபச்சாரி மகனாக இருக்க விரும்புகிறீர்கள், எத்தனை பேர் தீண்டத்தகவனாக இருக்க விரும்புகிறீர்கள் என்கின்ற கேள்வியை உறக்க சொன்னால்தான் அது சனாதனத்தை முறியடிக்கின்ற அடிநாதமாக அமையும் என்பதை விடுதலையும் முரசொலியும் திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகமும் திராவிடர் கழகம் எடுக்க வேண்டிய காலம் வந்துவிட்டது.
Well, the BJP has hit out saying that A. Raja is the biggest star of scams during UPA era, and these kind of remarks further expose their unfortunate mindset.
বুঝতে পারছে তো তারা যে বিজেপির ক্ষমতাটা কি এবং বিজেপির কত সংখ্যায় কর্মী সমর্থক আসবে যদি পুলিশ বাধা না দেয়, সেই ভয়ে তারা এটা করছে। আর এই ভয় আমাদের ভালো লাগছে। বিজেপি তো একমাত্র বিরোধী, সিপিএম তো সেটিং বিরোধী। তারা কলা চুরি করবে, পালিয়ে যাবে, পুলিশকে পেটাবে, পালিয়ে যাবে। আমরা তো ওসব করবো না, আমরা গণতান্ত্রিক পদ্ধতিতে করব এবং আমাদেরকে পুলিশ ভয় পায় সব থেকে বেশি। আর এই ভয়, ওদের এই ভয় আমাদের জন্য ভালো, দেশের জন্য ভালো, পশ্চিমবঙ্গের জন্য ভালো।
Well, instead of condemning such hateful remarks, the DMK has come out in defense of A. Raja. TKS Elangovan, who himself in the past, by the way, on multiple occasions has invoked the language card, has once again questioned the role of Shudras.
See, the very purpose of the Dravidian movement is to create parity among human beings. What is Hinduism? What does Hinduism say? It says Varna, it speaks of Manudharma. What we feel is our fight is against Manudharma. When a Hindu, another Hindu, my brother Hindu could not walk into a street where upper class people live, it's an insult. But I am denied of my rights because I am treated as Shudras. The meaning of the word Shudra is what he said. I am not going to talk about it. But the practice of Manudharma was never in the south. The entry of the Sanskrit and Hinduism into this land has spoiled this land. We made the Hindu Dalits, Hindu backward classes people to study like the upper caste people. Our role is to see people as equals.
Why is it that the DMK is being labelled time and again an anti-Hindu party? Because there's a long list of DMK netas and allies who have in the past expressed their hate for Hindu and Hindu gods. Apart from TK Selangovan and A. Raja, R. Rajiv Gandhi, for example, who's the spokesperson of the DMK, had given a genocidal call saying Brahmins should have been killed as directed by Periyar. Further, DMK ally VCK leader Vani Arasu also had declared a massive movement to defeat Sanatan Dharma. So the stand being taken by allies of the DMK is no different in many cases.
செங்கொடியின் இந்த நினைவு நாளில் விடுதலை, தமிழ்நாடுடைய முழுமையான விடுதலை, தமிழர்களுடைய உரிமை, இந்திய ஒன்றியத்திலிருந்து தமிழ்நாடு என்பது ஒரு தனித்துவமான நாடு என்பதை அடைவது என்பதுதான் செங்கொடி அவர்களுக்கு நாம் செலுத்தக்கூடிய உறுதிமொழி, கடமை என்று சொல்லி செங்கொடிக்கு வீர வணக்கம் செலுத்தி விடைபெறுகிறேன். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
Let's quickly go across to our guest joining us this evening. We have Narayan Tirupati of the BJP with us. Also with us is Mr. America Narayanan, political analyst. Mr. Narayanan, first to you, because these are statements that have not been made by one DMK neta. A. Raja, of course, has been a repeat offender when it comes to anti-Hindu remarks, but there have been a number of DMK netas who have gone ahead and either expressed their apprehension with regards to Hindi as a language or demeaned Hindu gods or gone ahead with these kind of distasteful remarks. What kind of an example does this set? Does this not lead to communal disharmony, sir?
I believe what Mr. Raja has said is clearly creating a divide, and it's not only creating a divide, but it will make a difference for the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and others who are voting with DMK for DMK. DMK is our ally. I do not know whether it has the blessing of Mr. Stalin or not. I have tweeted today because he's causing disharmony, even Mr. Raja should be arrested. The problem is that Congress needs to speak up. I, as a congressman, may not be an official spokesperson, speak up, because secularism does not mean anti-religion. It is whether it is anti-Islam, anti-Christian or anti-Hindu. Whenever any religion or caste...
No, but sir, don't you feel that Mr. Stalin, in this very case, if not the ones that have already taken place in the past, should in fact make his position clear? Isn't that the need of the hour? Why should we not have a clear answer to that? We have Mr. Gokul Chandran also with us. Good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Times Now. Yes, sir. What do you think of what Mr. A. Raja has said, and how no comment has come in so far on this very reaction, on this shocking remark made by A. Raja by the Chief Minister?
Please note, as a congressman, I'm talking also. I'm a member.
Go ahead, Mr. Gokul Chandran. Yeah.
See, I'm not supporting what Mr. Raja has said. It has nothing to do maybe with the DMK or of any sort. Few people in every who air their own opinion, hurting the other religion or other community or whatever it is. See, in BJP, people who cause killing of Muslims, but that doesn't mean that BJP mean that. Does BJP mean...
Mr. Chandran, we seem to have a problem with the audio line. We'll fix that and just get back to you. In the meanwhile, if I can quickly bring in Mr. Narayan Tirupati as well. Mr. Tirupati, what do you make of this? A series of comments that have been made, but this one topping it all and very, very shocking and distasteful, because A. Raja says that Hindus are Shudras and Shudra is a prostitute's son. What do you make of this?
Yeah, that is what they want to, create, this A. Raja or the DMK as a whole. I don't know, Mr. American was telling that he is not aware of whether Mr. Stalin knows it or not. With the full blessings of Mr. Stalin, the Chief Minister only, this has happened because the official spokesperson of the DMK, Mr. T.K. Telangovan, has also authorized what Mr. Raja had said. So, it is the view of DMK, we have to go by that. And we strongly condemn this. And Mr. Raja, when explaining this as to why he has said, he had very clearly said that Manusmriti says this. And these people are reading the law of Manu written by Sir William Jones, an Englishman who was sent to India by the British to create a law on their own. So they are reading the law of Manu written by Sir William Jones and the Wendy Doniger, etc. So we have been saying that these people are stooges of British. That is why these people are talking like this, and they are divisive, and we strongly condemn. I request Mr. Stalin to take action as a chief minister on Mr. Raja, as rightly said by Mr. American Narayan. He should be arrested. As a chief minister, Mr. Stalin should do this. See, secondly, Mr. Raja was quoting about...
Yes, because this is not, again, I repeat, this is not the first such time when A. Raja has come out with this kind of a remark or this kind of a mentality has been exposed. Let me go back to Mr. Chandran if we have a clearer line with him this time. Mr. Chandran, what would you say? Because A, we have no response that has come in from Mr. Stalin, a simple condemnation to begin with. B, interestingly, this comes at a time when the Congress is taking out its Bharat Jodo Yatra. Rahul Gandhi has already been making headlines for, his controversial meet with that pastor who's already known for his anti-Hindu rhetoric. And then you have a DMK leader come out with this kind of a remark. What is the Congress and what are the allies doing? What are they up to? What kind of an example are they setting?
See, already said, this is of Mr. A. Raja. Doesn't mean that Stalin has to condemn free speech, which supports free speech, and one of the individuals has made it.
Because, if any such thing was said about a minority community, I'm sure you would have been the first one to demand a condemnation, to say the least. We can't have two positions on two different issues that are pointing out the same thing.
There are many BJP leaders who have called for killing of Muslims, killing of Dalits. Okay, has anybody?
The official spokesperson has very clearly said that they
Abin Shah or JP Nada. No, nobody has condemned it. So,
okay, still not being able to hear you very clearly. Apologies for that, Mr. Chandran. Now, Mr. Tirupati was giving you a response. Yes, Mr. Tirupati, don't you agree if this was done with anyone from a minority community, an individual or the community at large, the response would have been very different?
Yeah, see, these people cannot talk about all those things. They will never talk about the minority because they are agents. They want the votes of minorities and they call themselves secular. See, it's very clear. Mr. Raja has quoted about Vidudalai and the Purusali, the party organs of DMK and DK. Why should he quote that? Because the same Mr. Stalin had said that 90% of Hindus are there in his party. Now I am asking one straight question. This speech by Raja, does he mean that the persons in DMK, is it meant for the DMK family members, DMK party members, and Mrs. Stalin, and Mr. Stalin's son-in-law and daughter, everybody goes to
because this is going to end up dent the image of the DMK as well. The DMK, by the way, sir, has been portraying that, in the last assembly elections, they have won the majority Hindu vote as well. So what kind of an example are they really setting if they're not, to begin with, condemning these kind of remarks? So let me go back to Mr. Narayanan, who continues to stay on with us as well. Mr. Narayanan, is it okay to just sideline this by calling it free speech? Can you actually ignore this, citing free speech here?
It is not okay to just sideline the issue. I think I have clearly said Mr. Stalin should even arrest Mr. Raja. But I think it is also important. I think the religious leaders of Hindus should clarify that these guys do not understand the Hindu religion the right way. As Tirupati Narayanan has pointed out, they are reading the wrong book written by the guys who did not understand India or Hinduism. The four Varnas as I had done in the Twitter, several people quoted Gita. In Gita, the four Varnas are not my birds. Never it has said that. It really is guna based on their character. Four Varnas are divided. They need to understand that. Hence, the problem nowhere and Manusmriti is not a Veda or Upanishad. It is an interpretation of Veda or Upanishad, and Manusmriti need not be taken as a law. They can quote whatever, including any individual said, out of context, in this particular case, out of time. The Smriti is only for the specific time, then it is there. It does not apply to the whole thing. However, according to the Hinduism,
so if you don't have complete knowledge of Hinduism, of Hindi as a language, please refrain from making these comments. That's what Mr. Amarika Narayanan has to say. We have Gokul Chandran back with us. Yes, sir, make your point.
Yeah, see, whatever Mr. Raja said, you cannot expect the Chief Minister of the state to come and condemn each and every statement by his partymen. He has a better role to do. He has to govern Tamil Nadu. As if Mr. Modi replies every time, Mr. Modi condemns every time whatever BJP does or BJP leaders speaks about. No,
sir, this can lead to communal disharmony. We need to understand the larger problem
nothing.
And one cannot ignore this aspect because these are comments repeatedly being made by multiple DMK.
Yeah, you know what is the problem? Yeah, you know what is the problem? You are seeing Tamil Nadu only for the past 2 years. For the past 75 years, this is what is happening in Tamil Nadu. The people are happy. The Hindus living here are living very happily and peacefully and very together. So BJP is trying to cash in on something. For power, they want to divide people. Other than that, there is nothing to what Mr. Raja has said. So, Hindus are happy over here. Hindus are living peacefully. So, I don't think this has to be blown out of proportion.
So, you're not acknowledging the fact that on a basic level, there is a need for the Chief Minister to condemn these kind of remarks. Should I play out that reaction for you again of what has been said by A. Raja? Do we not understand the sensitivity of the situation here? Mr. Narayan Tirupati.
The majority of Tamilians will endorse what Mr. Raja says.
See, Mr. Gokul Chandra said, in spite of Hindus are being targeted, their sentiments are hurt, their religious feelings are hurt, people are very happy because this DMK, he says that DMK will talk like that. You people have to listen. You people have to listen very calmly and go. Hey, what is this? What is this? For the past 50 years, these people are doing like this. Definitely, we are against. Now, people, the Tamil Nadu people will be against these people, and now Mr. Stalin says that 90% of Hindus are there in DMK. So,
3%
Raja is targeting. Is he targeting the DMK? Is he targeting the DMK cadre? Is he targeting the Chief Minister's family? That's what we are asking. As a party leader, it is a duty and responsibility of the Chief Minister Stalin to remove him and arrest him. That's what he should do.
Go file a case. Go file a FIR.
If a firm response is not given, if any sort of an action is not taken against these people who go ahead and make these irresponsible, distasteful remarks, Mr. Chandran, it's going to set a bad example. It's going to make one believe that the general idea that the DMK practices is that of anti-Hindu.
See, 3% of Tamilians are hurt. 3% of Tamilians are hurt. Other than that, 97% of the Tamilians are
This is
very okay with this. And if the 3% has a problem, let them go and file a FIR.
You are talking about dirty. Do you have any sense? I'm asking you. Have some sense in talking all this.
If 3% of people are unhappy with what Mr. Raja said, they can go and file a FIR. Simple.
Sir, do you condemn what Mr. A. Raja has said? Let's take it point by point. Do you condemn what he said?
I am not buying that. Simple. I don't have to condemn it or support it because I don't approve it.
So you can't turn a blind eye to a remark such as that.
Because he says that he is not.
I mean, this is not even about Hindi as a language. This is not even about what Mr. Elangovan had said when he said that, you know, Hindi is a language that is mostly being taught in underdeveloped states. That too was shocking, but this is taking it to a whole new level and you're not condemning it to begin with.
See, that's what I'm telling. It is his, whatever he has said on his individual capacity, he has his own right to talk anything within the laws. If it is against the law, outside the law, then very well these people can go and file a case. Why they are not filing a case? Because whatever he spoke is within the law and it comes under the ambit of Indian law.
Not many people are going to agree with you on that this kind of a remark can be passed off as you know, the right to free speech, and I'm running out of time, so I'm going to have to leave it at that. But the larger point here is that if this is allowed and if this is not condemned repeatedly and action is not taken, each time somebody goes ahead and makes this kind of a distasteful remark, then it's going to set a wrong example and make people believe that the DMK's religious inclination is that of anti-Hindu, and the rest is for viewers to decide. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on this debate.
The most pressing issues, the most informed minds, free and fair exchange. Converse India with Rahul Sinha.
for joining us on Times Now. My name is Pranesh. With me is my colleague Meghna Data, and our focus is on Bengal. The BJP, Meghna, has moved to Calcutta High Court, and the court has now responded by asking for a report on this.
Absolutely. This, remember, after a peaceful protest which was planned by the BJP, a rally towards Nabanna, which is of course the state secretariat, was faced with an iron fist crackdown where there were water cannons, as you can see on your screens. There were tear gas shells, there was use of lathi charge, and indiscriminate thrashing of BJP cadres was witnessed. In the midst of it all, now the BJP has moved the court. We're going to go across to Tamal Saha for more details. I believe he's joining us live. Tamal, you got us those visuals live today. I believe the court now has directed the DGP and the Home Secretary. So accountability is being sought by the court.
Well, yes, BJP has moved to Calcutta High Court. They had mentioned the matter before the Chief Justice, and of course a petition has also been filed as that whether they do have the right for a peaceful demonstration and a democratic right to protest against the government. They've also highlighted cases where BJP workers have sustained injuries and the kind of turn of events that have been witnessed by all through the day. Now, the Chief Justice has now sought a report from the state government over the issue of damages, number one. Number two, what really happened and what a law and order situation got disrupted and how the law and order situation was contained. Now, because indeed the state government, there is a government in place and law and order is a state subject, thus the law and order on the ground is equally the responsibility of the state government. Thus, a report has been sought from the police because BJP had been alleging police excesses, that they have been stopped, their protest rally had been thwarted. The reason why police have now been directed to file a report, number one. Number two, Home Secretary too have been asked to submit a report by September 19th. So in all likeness, after the reports are being furnished, number one, on damages that have happened on public property. Number two, why did it happen, how it all started. Number three, who are responsible, what are the cognizable action being taken by the state government, by the police. And number four, what really transpired, how it all started, what is the propagation, where the provocation came from. All of that, detailing everything, will have to be mentioned in the report, which has to be filed by September 19th.
All right, hold your thoughts. More breaking inputs coming in. Policemen attacked by mob in Kolkata. Police personnel brutally attacked by the mob. We have the video playing out on Times Now. So it's now a war of versions. The TMC says that BJP was the one provoking the police. The police show great restraint. The BJP says that our workers were thrashed by the Bengal police. This was done without any provocation. This is the latest video coming in which you can see the policemen coming under attack. Tamal.
Well, that's right. This particular incident happened in Kolkata, the same place where the police vehicle was torched, the same place, Rabindra Sharoni MG Road area in Kolkata, where the mob went absolutely irate. They were all part of the protest. Who these people are, we cannot independently identify. BJP had been making several allegations. We have to wait for police confirmation as who these people are. They can be easily identified. They can be seen. Most of them are there without mask. So all of a sudden, after they were stopped by the policemen with the barricades, they went charging on one particular police personnel. That's not all. They literally bashed him, with batons and of course sticks, hit him, and also the guard, the fiber guard which police people used to guard their heads, that was also completely thrashed. That happened with one particular police officer. With another police officer, it turned out more violent. He was literally pushed and shoved, thrown onto the ground and kicked and also assaulted. So all that happened at Rabindra Sharoni, which is near MG Road in Kolkata. Both the policemen were later rescued. Now, while the mob was trying to attack these police people, we cannot really confirm independently as whether they were mobilized with a definite motive and a purpose by any individual, by someone. What was the purpose behind it? We also see some of them also rescuing the police people.
Right.
But the bottom line is, the police people came under the attack, and this particular incident happened at Rabindra Sharoni in Kolkata.
So it's very interesting because all of this has now reached the courtroom as well. On one hand, BJP alleges high-handedness and brutality by the cops, but on the other hand, you have the TMC floating videos such as this, which says that the cops too were under attack by a brutal, murderous mob. We'll have to wait and see. Keep tracking the developments on the front for us. Thank you so much, Tamal. Moving on now, and this is a massive setback to the Aam Aadmi Party.
A Delhi court has indicted two MLAs Akhilesh Tripathi and Sanjeev Jha along with 15 others for being part of a mob that wreaked havoc in 2015. In a strongly worded judgment, the court has said that both the netas had played a major role in provoking and instigating the crowd to attack the cops. This happened at the Burari police station.
In fact, this matter dates back to 2nd of February 2015 when the accused person barged inside a police station and even assaulted several of the policemen with the object of assault and also damaging public property. In fact, the mob had demanded custody of 2 of the men who were then in police custody accused of child kidnapping. They wanted these 2 accused in their own custody so they can be thrashed. So the court maintains that the 2 AAP MLAs provoked the crowd, encouraged them to get violent, which resulted into stone pelting and even injured the policemen.
2 of the Aam Aadmi Party MLAs, Akhilesh Tripathi and Sanjeev Jha, got convicted yesterday from Delhi's Rouse Avenue Court for being the part of the mob that attacked the policeman in an incident in February 2015 at Burari police station. And we have reached out, we tried to reach out to him at his office as well as his residence, but he remained completely silent on Times Now's questions, and he was unavailable throughout this morning. This is the office of Akhilesh Tripathi, who was convicted yesterday along with 15 others for being the part of the mob that attacked the policeman at Burari police station in North Delhi in 2015. The court said that both the politicians had played a major role provoking and in instigating the crowd. Here you can see an interesting thing while walking towards his office. It has been written by the black paint, Aapka Bahishkar over here. This particular way leads to his residence over here of Akhilesh Tripathi, but you can clearly see this is the gate of his office, but it has been shut, and since today morning he tried to call him, but no answers were given as far as the MLA is concerned. Certainly this is the conviction that now BJP is attacking both the MLAs, and they have been calling Aam Aadmi Party the party of goons. One after another, the war between BJP and Aam Aadmi Party escalating, and this is a fresh row that has erupted where BJP is certainly attacking the Aam Aadmi Party, saying that Aam Aadmi Party is the party of goons, and this is the reason. Perhaps yesterday it has been proved after Delhi's Rouse Avenue Court convicted Akhilesh Tripathi and Sanjeev Jha, 2 of the MLAs, for being the part of mob. And remember, on September 21st, the Rouse Avenue Court will pronounce the sentence, which can be maximum of 3 years of imprisonment. And this is something a setback for the Aam Aadmi Party, who is remaining completely silent over this issue.
This conviction has given ammunition to the BJP. The BJP has alleged that here is a party that holds the Tiranga but actually calls and instigates danga.
आम आदमी पार्टी के 2 विधायक एक 7 साल पुराने केस में, जिसमें दंगे फैलाने के आरोप हैं इनके ऊपर, पुलिस के साथ मारपीट करने के आरोप हैं, और उसमें दोषी करार दिया गया। एक बार फिर आम आदमी पार्टी का वो क्रिमिनल, वो घिनौना चेहरा सामने आया उनके नेताओं का, कि किस तरह से आम आदमी पार्टी वास्तविकता से और जो सामने दिखते हैं, कहते कुछ हैं और करते कुछ हैं, ये चेहरा उनका सामने आया है। मैं अरविंद केजरीवाल से मांग करता हूं, अविलंब आम आदमी पार्टी से निष्कासित करके ही नहीं, उनको विधायकी से भी उनकी सदस्यता रद्द होनी चाहिए।
The Aam Aadmi Party believes that they are a law unto themselves, and this conviction of 2 Aam Aadmi Party MLAs for rioting by a court of law after full due process is only confirming that their model was a complete lie. We will bring exceptional people, we will bring the best people, we will see that all things are absolutely legal, there should be no corruption. We see what is happening with the case of Manish Sisodia, we see on liquor scam, excise scam, on Satyendra Jain, not one word till now, and now we are seeing their MLAs are basically indulging in rioting even against the police. So this is due process, and it exposes the complete hollowness of the Aam Aadmi Party's entire model.
What do you tell about a party where the chief secretary of the state was assaulted in front of the chief minister? This is a culture which is so crazy. I knew the chief secretary, and the question is, when you assault the chief secretary and the CM is standing there. So if this is the kind of thing, obviously MLAs are going to assault police officers.
The whole thing is to belittle authorities, to make fun of people, to joke and destroy every system and project himself as some kind of a agitator. It is on the basis of eyewitness accounts that these people were leading a mob. In this case, these two were leading a mob. There's a case of Amanatullah leading a mob in CM's house and in other places. If actually justice is done, at least 8-10 of their MLAs will be behind bars. They are only following their leader. He only does stunts. He is a liar, he's a cheat. So what will he tell them?
However, it shields up for the Aam Aadmi Party. They have pinned the entire blame on the BJP, saying they are the true dangawadis.
उस इलाके में एक छोटे बच्चे का अपहरण हुआ। अपहरणकर्ता को लोगों ने रंगे हाथों बच्चे के साथ पकड़ा और उस बच्चे को वो पुलिस स्टेशन में जाके ले गए और पुलिस स्टेशन में कहा गया कि आप इसके ऊपर मुकदमा दर्ज करें। दिल्ली पुलिस ने उस अपहरणकर्ता के ऊपर कोई मुकदमा दर्ज नहीं किया और उन माँ बाप ने, उन मोहल्ले वालों ने, उन स्थानीय लोगों ने पुलिस पे दबाव बनाया कि आप मुकदमा तो दर्ज कीजिए। पुलिस ने चिढ़कर स्थानीय लोगों पे और स्थानीय विधायकों के ऊपर जो है मुकदमा बना दिया और ऐसा मुकदमा जिसके अंदर मुकदमा करने वाली भी पुलिस है, गवाह भी पुलिस है।
कि दंगा, नफरत, मारकाट कराने में अगर किसी पार्टी को महारत हासिल है तो उसका नाम है भारतीय जनता पार्टी। और इस पार्टी के कई लोग दंगे, फसाद, लफंगई, गुंडई में या तो जेल की सजा काट रहे हैं और या खुलेआम सरकारी संरक्षण में घूम रहे हैं। क्या निर्णय की कॉपी उनके हाथ में लग गई? क्या न्यायाधीश महोदय का निर्णय आ गया? न्यायाधीश का निर्णय आने से पहले भारतीय जनता पार्टी अगर इस प्रकार की टिप्पणी और बात कर रही है तो ये खुलेआम न्यायालय की अवमानना है।
The blame game continues. Taking a short break on Times Now. Lots more lined up on the other side. Come right back.
Welcome back. You're watching Blueprint Explosive Exclusive. Now, as the Congress Party's Bharat Cholo Yatra entered its second day in Kerala, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi found himself enveloped in embarrassment. The Congress MP failed to attend an event to unveil a memorial for two veteran freedom fighters from Kerala, despite having been invited and accepting this invite, which brought massive embarrassment to even the regional Congress leaders.
And the Congress leaders in the state have said that they regret the decision of Rahul not actually attending it, which has given ammunition to the BJP. But listen to the wife of a late freedom fighter, pained by the Wayanad MP's decision to skip this event.
Rahul Gandhi Jara vannittu Nimsinte gate vare vannittu Nimsinagatte keri adilulla പരിപാടികളിൽ പങ്കെടുക്കാതെ മടങ്ങിപ്പോയതിൽ എനിക്ക് അതിയായ ദുഃഖമുണ്ട്. അതെന്തുകൊണ്ടാണെന്ന് എനിക്ക് മനസ്സിലാകുന്നില്ല. വളരെ നിരാശയുമുണ്ട്. ഞങ്ങൾ ഗാന്ധി കുടുംബക്കാരും ഗോപിനാഥൻ നായർ സാറിൻ്റെ കുടുംബക്കാരും മറ്റേ ആള് മാമൻ്റെ കുടുംബക്കാരും എല്ലാം വളരെ ആകാംക്ഷയോടുകൂടി ഇത് നടത്തി കിട്ടുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടി കാത്തിരുന്നു. അവർ പങ്കെടുക്കാതെ അതിൻ്റെ സമീപത്ത് പോലും വരാതെ ഗാന്ധിയന്മാരെ അവഹേളിക്കും പോലെയുള്ള ഒരു പ്രവൃത്തി പോലെ പിരിഞ്ഞു പോയതിൽ വളരെ നിരാശയും മനോവിഷമവുമുണ്ട്.
Following Rahul's absence, a conversation between K. Sudhakaran and Shashi Tharoor showed the Congress party clearly embarrassed, forcing the KPCC chief to apologize.
നാളെ ഒരു CPM മന്ത്രി ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് ഒരു മോശമല്ലേ? അദ്ദേഹം ഇതൊക്കെ ചെയ്യാൻ തയ്യാറായ സമയത്ത് മഹാമോശം. ഓക്കെ നമ്മുടെ രണ്ട് MPമാരിവിടെ KPCC പ്രസിഡന്റ് പറഞ്ഞു. ഞാൻ KPCC പ്രസിഡന്റ് പറയാൻ കാരണം പിന്നോസം ചെയ്യാം. എല്ലാവരും വിളിച്ചിട്ട് നാളെ ഒരു CPM മന്ത്രി ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് ഒരു മോശമല്ലേ? അദ്ദേഹം ഇതൊക്കെ ചെയ്യാൻ തയ്യാറായ സമയത്ത് മഹാമോശം. ഓക്കെ നമ്മുടെ രണ്ട് MPമാരിവിടെ KPCC പ്രസിഡന്റ് പറഞ്ഞു. ഞാൻ KPCC പ്രസിഡന്റ് പറയാൻ കാരണം പിന്നോസം ചെയ്യാം. എല്ലാവരും വിളിച്ചിട്ട്
Well, with that, some big breaking news which is coming in. The Congress, however, is trying its best to try and justify the absence of Rahul Gandhi from the event which was held to inaugurate the Freedom Fighters Memorial. Listen into some of their weak excuses.
BJP are a bunch of, liars and continuously deal in this kind of nonsense. They are rattled by it. The man who can get pushed while going to a Hathras, right? The man who is always accessible to the people, the most humble guy, at least in the present Indian politics. I've been informed that there were some security concerns to go to that place, and he is committed and promised to get back to them soon.
With that, we are taking a short break. Padmaja Joshi joins you next.
اینجا اصفهانه، دارالشنبه کرمانشاه، اینجا رامسره، من اصابه. ما در تهران هستیم، مشغول پیاده روی بدون حجاب.
You're watching The Nation Wants to Know. I'm Padmaja Joshi. What happened today in West Bengal? Who's responsible for the violence? That's the big story coming up in 5 minutes. Let's get you started with the top 50. Several BJP supporters injured while staging a massive demonstration against TMC under the banner of Nabanna Abhiyan in Howrah. Mega face-off between BJP and West Bengal police while they arrived for the Nabanna Abhiyan. Hours later, videos of police personnel being attacked surface. TMC camp hits out at BJP, says an event was created to spread unrest in the state. BJP moves Calcutta High Court over their Nabanna march and the alleged police excesses. Several BJP leaders taken into preventive custody during the protest. BJP West Bengal Chief Sukanta Majumdar and BJP MP Locket Chatterjee were released hours later. DMK MP A. Raja's video sparks controversy. He's heard making anti-Hindu comments. Says, you are a Shudra till you remain Hindu. You are a prostitute's son till you remain Shudra. Meanwhile, BJP state chief in Tamil Nadu, Annamalai, tweeted and condemned A. Raja's comments, said sorry state of political discourse in the state. DVAC conducted searches at 26 places across Chennai, Coimbatore in connection with allegations of the abuse of position by former minister in the AIDMK government, SP Velumani. Tamil Nadu police have detained 7 AIDMK MLAs and several workers for protesting outside the residence of former state minister SP Velumani in Coimbatore. 2 days ahead of Hindi Divas event, former Chief Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy writes a letter to Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai against the celebration in the state, says it would be an insult to Kannadigas. BJP slams Kumaraswamy's letter, saying festivals of all languages will be celebrated. JDS will protest against Hindi Divas on Wednesday. Following the recent flooding in Bengaluru, BBMP started an anti-encroachment drive to remove illegal structures and stormwater drains across the city. Nalapat building is one such encroachment that has been demolished. It is directly linked to Congress leader N.A. Harris and his son Mohammad Nalapat. Delhi High Court has fined the petitioner who moved the PIL, saying central agencies have been misusing powers in the liquor scam. Visuals emerge of a Delhi government-run school in East Delhi where children are being made to study in makeshift barricades. 2 resolutions were adopted in Telangana Assembly, one requesting the centre to name new Parliament building after B.R. Ambedkar and the second to oppose Central Electricity Reforms Bill 2022 while seeking its withdrawal. High tension prevailed at Telangana Assembly after hundreds stormed the area
To protest against Chief Minister KCR, police carried out a lathi charge. Giving rise to a big controversy, Bihar Agriculture Minister Sudhakar Singh was seen during a public address admitting that corruption is widely practiced in the Agriculture Department. Big blow to Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar in Daman and Diu as 15 JDU Panchayat members joined the BJP. Former Congress leader Ghulam Nabi Azad said his mission is not to break other parties but to make Kashmir progress. NCPCR has written to Chief Election Commissioner for initiating action against Rahul Gandhi and the Jawahar Bal Manch. They say that Congress is misusing children as political tools. This after videos of children participating in Bharat Jodo Yatra surfaced. Mountains of cash tumbling out and heaps of gold dug up were just a glimpse of the Tower of Graft that was unearthed in West Bengal. And now there is an all-out fight between the BJP and the TMC as a Nabanna Abhiyan was carried out by the Bharatiya Janata Party today across West Bengal. Visuals from the capital city of the state, opposition BJP gave a call to march the secretariat against what they call blind corruption on Mamta's watch. 10 images that show how lathis were rained on the protesters. There are also complaints of how women were also not spared. Now the BJP has approached the Calcutta High Court against what they say are excesses carried out against their workers. Similarly, a petition has been made to the National Commission of Women as well, especially after there were images of how women were singled out and were beaten by policemen. The question though is that even as there is a trading of charges between both the parties, remember there were cases of arson and stone pelting reported. The Trinamool Congress said it's complete anarchy that has been unleashed on the streets of West Bengal by the BJP and that policemen were being beaten up. The question remains, who is responsible for the violence in West Bengal today?
Over the protesters, they are firing protester tear gas shells. Every time they are fighting an aggression, they are firing tear gas shells on the protesters. There you see more BJP workers have been arrested.
All right, in fact, right at the top, we are joined by leader of the BJP and former member of parliament of the Rajya Sabha, Shwapan Das Gupta, who was himself participating in the march today. So first, begin by telling us what happened. The Trinamool Congress government is saying your party unleashed violence, the police retaliated. What did you see?
This was a planned program of protest against the mounting corruption of the Trinamool Congress, and it was labeled Nabanna Cholo, which means now Nabanna is the headquarters of the West Bengal government, the main offices of the West Bengal government. It's located in Howrah district, just across the river from Kolkata. There were supposed to be 3 marches which were converging on that. The first 2 marches were in Howrah district, one in the Howrah Maidan and one in a place called Shatragachi. The third was one from Calcutta, which was supposed to go across the bridge. Now, what happened was the first 2 rallies were declared unlawful by the Trinamool Congress overnight, last night. And this morning, everybody was prevented from massing there to the extent that actual barricades made of steel were welded onto the national highway to prevent people from coming. Police went into railway stations to actually prevent protesters from getting onto the trains despite their reservations, etc., and traveling to Howrah or traveling to Kolkata. This is completely illegal. Then coming into the railways, coming into the railway platforms, etc. And finally, when the rally from Kolkata, which again was scheduled, so much so that the police actually gave traffic notification as to, traffic diversions were created so that people wouldn't get inconvenienced and wouldn't get caught in the traffic. What happened there was that firstly, as soon as they approached the Howrah Bridge, water cannons were fired. Followed that up with tear gas shells. Immediately, it's back to back, within about 40 seconds of each other. And finally, a lathi charge was done, which resulted in a complete bedlam. And then the rally was dispersed as a result of it. The lathi charged their way right across the place. People got injured. I was one of them. Could have been worse, but anyway, let me not talk about myself. I think what's important is that here was an organized, it was peaceful, high-spirited, but completely peaceful demonstration. And if this is not allowed to take place on a live issue, which concerns everybody in West Bengal, the evidence of corruption, and some of your images which you've shown there, as you can see, how crores of rupees are hidden under beds. 50 crores or something is found in someone's girlfriend's flat. Things like that is there. And it's all linked directly to how much jobs for cash. Education, people who pass their civil services, their subordinate services examination aren't up. The evidence is just that then there is coal graft, there's cow smuggling across the border.
But there are also images of your party members who are pelting stones. So the police retaliated because you pelted stones.
The police retaliated because the police has become, in all practical purposes, the real street fighting arm of the Trinamool Congress. There's now no difference whatsoever. The Trinamool Congress is not being able to get people on mass support for itself, so it banks disproportionately on the police.
So why?
There was
why did the water cannon? Why was the water cannon used? Are you saying that the water cannon and the lathi charge was unprovoked? You were doing nothing and they started caning you.
There was nothing. There was just the exact plan was followed. Why was the rally in Howrah and Shatragachi not allowed? Why was it not allowed? Suddenly, overnight, you knew about it, you knew about it for 3 weeks. It was well announced. There was nothing secret about it. There was nothing, this was a well-organized plan of political protest by the state. And it's by a political party, by the main political party. It was being led by the state president. It was being led by the leader of opposition in the West Bengal Assembly. So it was all official, above board. Nothing happened there. They just prevented the rally and took everybody into custody. In Kolkata, what happened was the main rally, they lathi charged at everything. And here's some side issue, some on the sides. Now, God alone knows, in front of the police headquarters, 2 jeeps or something like that went up in flames. I don't know. I cannot vouch that it was actually the party people who did it. I think it needs a certain degree of investigation. All I can say is that a peaceful protest was suppressed today by the Trinamool Congress government in order to hide their own shortcomings, their own corruption, their own maladministration, and the fact today was one evidence that they depend on the police to stamp out the opposition. They cannot fight it politically.
All right, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you very much, Shwapan Das Gupta, for having spoken to us, and we hope that you recover soon. A number of people who've been detained, who have been injured. The BJP says this was an action that was born out of malice. Let me take that across to our panel. Saurav Sikdar, spokesperson of the BJP, Professor Manojit Mandal, spokesperson of the Trinamool Congress. Professor Mandal, you would have heard Mr. Das Gupta. How would you respond to the charge that this was a well-known rally? They were progressing peacefully. You started beating them up, and then there was retaliation.
I think, we have heard Professor Dr. Das Gupta, and he's also known for his, falsehood which he has been spreading in Bengal for the last 3-4 years. He was caught napping last year immediately after the election when he was talking about a particular rape incident. So we really don't buy his argument, even if he is one like me, an academic. But you know, he is known for spreading lies.
But
Coming
then he
back
was
to
there in the
issue,
middle
yeah.
of it all and he was injured.
Yeah.
He is speaking not as an academic, he is speaking as somebody who took a lathi today.
Could be because of one of the stones pelted by his own people. Because we can see how this protest was actually a planned violence from BJP side. In fact, it was planned on 7th of September. They could not garner any protest, and they could not garner people. They did not manage to get many people either today. But we are very clear that the government had to stop such a rally, marching to the secretariat, not a rally which should have been held somewhere else, maybe in a constricted place, especially at this point in time when Durga Puja festivity is about to begin. People are busy shopping, people are busy with their pandals, the idols. The BJP is deliberately trying to somehow provoke the people of Bengal so that Durga Puja, the spirit of Durga Puja is completely dampened. We tell you, the BJP doesn't want Durga Puja to happen in Bengal, but the people of Bengal will celebrate Durga Puja the way they have been doing prior to the pandemic. We could not celebrate properly in the last 2 years.
So you're saying that this rally was stopped because the BJP would have created trouble at the time of Durga Puja?
Absolutely, because BJP is known for their violence. 2019 we saw how Vidyasagar statue was vandalized. 2021 we saw what happened in North Bengal. 2020 we saw what happened again in Nabanna Abhiyan. We know how they are, creating mayhem in Bengal because they cannot rise to power through democratic means.
That's why you had to be stopped, and that's why you were stopped.
Well, our protest was against the Choro ki Rani, and unfortunately, leader of thieves, who is the Home Minister of West Bengal also. So this is quite natural that police has denied the permission, and today police is actually working as a B team of TMC, Trinamool Congress Party. Most of the policemen are working as their cadres. So when we have planned a protest, we asked for police permission. Our permission has been denied just 1 day back. Secondly, we are on the street for the future of our youth of West Bengal, for those who actually lost their job. Their job has been actually sold in the market, and the corruption, the failure of government. So this rally was actually not
charge that this is a time when there are large crowds out, everyone is shopping for Pujo. This would have created unrest and nobody can march into the secretariat, just like nobody can march into parliament. So they had to stop you.
Padmaja ji, just to remind you, Puja is still 17 days left. And second thing is, how come people will enjoy the puja who in their family they lost their job, their son, their daughter, they have passed state, they have passed SSC, but still any other TMC cadres purchase their job. Can they actually enjoy the puja? They also today joined us for this protest. This is not a protest of BJP. Today's protest become the protest of West Bengal mass.
Professor Mandal, were you unnerved by people turning up? And also, how can the police walk into the Howrah railway station and stop people? That is not even their jurisdiction.
First of all, I mean, Mahalaya begins only after 10 days, sir. So that proves the point about BJP's love for Durga Puja with just lip service. And all of us know that for the last 3 months, people remain busy for this particular festival, which is the biggest one in the country. And now it has been recognized by the United Nations. So let's come to that point. You had one rally, another political party had rally 2 days back. Did the government stop? The answer is clear no, because that was happening in a restricted area where the citizens will not become inconvenienced. especially again I repeat, especially during this point in time. Left parties had a rally, they had, huge number of gathering in Salt Lake, but nothing happened. BJP deliberately wanted to completely ransom the city, which they tried to do, in fact, by becoming violent, by scaring the people. I mean, some people can be agitating, but the most of 10 crores people of the state are now in festive mood.
So,
What are you
it's very
talking about?
interesting that you're speaking of Durga Puja and Mahalaya at a time when the National Commission for Women has just issued notice to the West Bengal police, Professor Mandal, asking why have women been beaten up today? Not only was the former mayor beaten up, a lady, but you even have one lady on camera, a lady protester being beaten with a cane by a policeman.
Okay, I'll reply. I mean, this is BJP's National Commission for Women. They did nothing when the rapes were happening in UP. They did nothing when that DSP's family was, suffering in Haryana.
Why even bother about the NCW being BJP's NCW? You have the picture on camera. There is a lady in a sari who's being beaten, who's being caned by a policeman.
Yeah, if the lady, I was also watching a lady in sari who was attacking the policeman, right? So what, I mean, if in retaliation the police had done something, there has been inquiry. Now, if the lady policeman also I saw attacking the policeman through the barricade, you will not show that picture, but we have seen that picture from the beginning. She was also a sari-clad woman. So I mean, let's not talk about that. I mean, when they become violent.
No. That has to be spoken of as well. That has to be spoken of as well. If I'm talking about stone pelting to Dr. Shopan Das Gupta, then you equally have to answer for why you have Meena Devi Purohit being assaulted to the point that she has a bloodied head, sir. And are you going to qualify that as some kind of retaliation?
That's what I'm saying. If she has been hit by a police, I mean, you must be having the visual. Or she has been hit by one of the stones again because they were torching vehicles.
Okay, answer that, Saurabh Sikdar. Maybe your own party people have left Meena Devi Purohit injured.
Torching vehicles, ladies were
Firstly, I really want to thank Monojit Da for accepting this, that TMC only pumping new bloods on CPM or communist in West Bengal. Secondly, today they are afraid. This is totally clear. The more people joins our rally, police got that vulnerable. The more people chant that slogan, and police become more barbaric. So, and now this story of painting stone on by own people and on, everybody has seen what has happened today. Even our female workers are beaten by the male police. They have been actually brutally tortured. Our 100 of our workers, our co-workers,
they are flat out denying it. He's saying you guys were pelting stones. BJP was pelting stones. Maybe some of it hit your people.
No. So that shows his afraidness. That TMC actually afraid by when they saw the strength of BJP. And again, I am saying this is not only the rally of BJP workers. The mass has joined us today. Mass has success this grand rally because they want to protest against this corrupt government.
All right, Professor Mandal, we spoke of Meena Devi Purohit. I have shown you another image of how a lady was being caned. There are at least 4 other images, and we'll put them out now, of people who are being beaten. One man being beaten by 4 to 5 cops, of people who are being taken away in a bloodied state. All of this you are putting down to either retaliation on part of the police or of them getting caught in the crossfire of stones pelted by BJP, all of that. You're saying you did nothing, your police did nothing, they were only acting in self-defense.
Absolutely. I think police, the 10 to 12 policemen were injured. You could see 2 reporters were injured of another channel. 2 PCR vans were vandalized by BJP. 2 police vehicles were touched by BJP.
But how do you know they were done by the BJP? Because I saw at least 2 reporters on live coverage who were water cannoned by your police.
What is the problem with water cannon? This is I think very peaceful mode of retaliation. I mean, this is international accepted.
Why are you water cannoning journalists who are present at the spot?
Water cannon can be used on journalists also. also.
Tear gassing.
And they don't have any problem.
Are please, don't become violent inside the TV studio. You are known to be violent. Don't become violent inside the TV studio.
Sir, you are suggesting that water cannoning journalists is a peaceful mode of retaliation against who? Against journalists who are doing their job.
If no, definitely journalists were not targeted by the police for water cannoning. I mean, you can understand if journalists were there with the the mob, they might have got the water. They might have had a peaceful bath, on the streets of Calcutta. But water cannon, I mean, you are objecting to water cannoning. You are objecting to tear gassing. You want the police to have only lathi charges and fire. Mamta, these police will not be provoked by these goons and thugs on the streets. BJP hired hooligans from outside the state.
Hired hooligans were sent by the BJP and Saurabh Sikdar. Equally, there are images. I hope you can see them on your TV right now of one policeman. Just like you are outraged about a woman being caned by a cop, it should equally outrage you that there is this one cop who's being beaten by 5 to 6 men with lathis. One policeman.
Absolutely.
Padmaja ji, Monojit Da just said, if Mamta Didi's police is not West Bengal police or Calcutta police, that's what I want to say again and again. This is Trinamool's police, this is Mamta Banerjee's police. So they can't be impartial. They are working as a cadre of Trinamool Congress. That's what Monojit Mondal just said.
And what kind of nonsense is this? You don't even know what is.
You said Mamta Didi's police. You said or not? You said on camera. You said on camera Mamta Didi's police. You said or not?
Is she only TMC superior? She is the home minister. The police works under her. I mean, what is wrong in that?
No, Mamta Didi's police means what? Her private police. Her private police. Mamta Didi's police means her private police. Police appointed by Trinamool Congress. It's not Calcutta police. It's not West Bengal police. It's Mamta police. That is the fact. That is the fact, and that is the.
If you don't know, you can't condemn others. Educate yourself about government functioning. Police is under Home Ministry. It is not a separate.
Monojit Dada, you just explained now. You said Mamta Didi's police.
Like CBI works under the PMO.
We never said it's Modi's CBI. We never said it's Modi's PMO. CBI. We never said it's Amit Shah's CBI. CBI is CBI.
You want me to debate on this issue?
Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. The thing is that democratic protest should not be stopped in any part of the country, but equally in retaliation, there cannot be violence employed in the name of a protest. As the investigation progresses, because now there are multiple investigations that have been sought from the Calcutta High Court, a plea has been made, the NCW has stepped in, we'll be keeping a close watch at who is behind it. For the time being, thank you very much, Professor Manojit Mandal, Saurabh Sikdar, for joining me. The other big story, in fact, is coming from Karnataka, where the fight over Hindi has been reignited all over again. Why? Because of the Hindi Divas celebrations that were scheduled for tomorrow. In a letter written to the Chief Minister, H.D. Kumaraswamy, in fact, the JDS chief, has said that a celebration like this would mean injustice to Kannadigas and an insult to Karnataka people. And a day ahead of Hindi Divas celebrations, JDS and Karnataka Rakshana Vedike have threatened to stage a statewide protest tomorrow.
Hindi is just another language. It is not a national language. We Kannadigas, 6.4 crore Kannadigas, are very proud of our culture, our language, our tradition, our customs. And the national government, the central government trying and imposing Hindi on us is totally uncalled for. 14th September, Hindi Divas, which they want to celebrate here in Karnataka, I don't think Kannadigas would definitely like it. We from JDS, Kumaraswamy had clearly said, the language of our heart, of our culture, of our identity is Kannada. 6.4 crore people here in Karnataka identify with Kannada language. Imposing Hindi is absolutely, totally uncalled for. We respect every language, but imposition of any language would absolutely be having devastating effects on the federal system.
On the other hand, the BJP has said that all the JDS is trying to do right now is politicize the matter by trying to make it into a parochial issue.
I doesn't know why Mr. Kumaraswamy nor Siddaramaiah spoke against Hindi Divas. This is very unfortunate. A man who has enjoyed CM position for last 5 years and a man who has enjoyed 3 years, they have spoken like this. This is really unfortunate, and we should. But one thing I accept, no one should force any diverse or any language on anyone. People always do things for the elections. As we know that elections are nearing in Karnataka, they are using even that language for the political purpose. This is very unfortunate.
देश भर एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत के वजह से हर प्रांत का उत्सव हम आचरण करना, ऐसा हम सोचा है। महाराष्ट्र में कर्नाटक राज्योत्सव हम आचरण करेंगे, मराठी उत्सव कर्नाटक में करेंगे। ऐसा अलग अलग जगह में हम लोग भ्रातृत्व भाव मजबूत करने के लिए कोशिश करेंगे। भ्रातृत्व का भाव मतलब विरोध करना ऐसा नहीं होता है। देश में 45% लोग हिंदी मातृभाषा के जैसे मानता है। केवल हिंदी उत्सव करना वो ठीक नहीं होता है। कन्नड़ उत्सव भी करना, तमिल उत्सव भी करना, देश का सभी भारतीय भाषाओं को उत्सव हम करना।
Taking a very quick break at this point, I will see you next at 10 on the News Hour agenda.
most pressing issues, the most informed minds, free and fair exchange. Converse India with Rahul Sinha.
a warm welcome. You're watching News Pulse with me, Meghna Dekha, here on Times Now. First up on the bulletin, let's tell you the very latest coming in Bharat Cholo yatra of the Congress party. However, it's run into massive controversies and even embarrassment. This after the name of Congress leader N.A. Harris and his son Mohammad Nalapad surfaced in encroaching stormwater drains in Bengaluru. Well, last week when rains wreaked havoc on the IT city, the entire city was flooded and Mohammad Nalapad staged a protest against the government over poor infrastructure. But now, BJP has listed him amongst 13 other encroachers. Well, the civic body has carried out a demolition drive against these encroachers. And this, remember, is a Times Now exclusive that we are getting for you. We told you how bulldozers were being unleashed on the illegal properties of Mohammad Nalapad as well.
Their claim that there is no nala in their property, as per their documents there is no any big karap. But our revenue department is confirming there is a nala as per village RS map.
So you're going to go ahead with the demolition now?
Definitely.
And how much how much area of this particular property will be demolished?
This particular property, I think the length is almost 100 meters. 100 meters by 2.5 meters width demolition will be taken place.
And it's going to be happening now?
Yeah, right now. Right now we are starting and we are completing at any cost.
Meanwhile, Congress's MLA N.A. Harris said that no notice was received in the past from the BJP by him, perhaps even when they were in power.
No, demolition drive is good. See, making Bengaluru better, I also welcome that. But see, Nalapad Academy, they have not given any notice. From past 25 years, we have owned that property. There has never been any drain there. Suddenly they have come, they are telling there is a drain. See, at least basic is they should give some time, they should give a notice, they should do a joint survey and then decide if it is there. We have not seen any drain there as long as I have been holding this property. If it is there, something was there or what was there, we don't know. So they should have given some time notice and then done all these things. But now they are doing, I don't know for what. I am talking to the concerned people.
Meanwhile, a war of words has erupted over the issue. BJP has vowed to take action against the accused irrespective of their political affiliations.
Going to take action against officials. Against officials, are you going to take action?
Yeah, 100%. Anybody, small, big, no. Demolition for the Bengaluru sake.
Sir, on
Bengaluru sake.
Action against officials.
Everybody.
On the other hand, Congress said that a probe must be conducted to ascertain which government gave the requisite permissions for these illegal constructions on stormwater drains.
Irrespective of whose name crops up, whose building it is, there are two things that needs to be done. One, if it is illegal, go ahead with the resolve that you claim to have. Number two, also find out how these people got permission. Who were the thing, under whose regime it happened, whether it was Congress regime or BJP regime. Who gave them the permissions? How come the officials are going scot-free for this? And why is it that for the greed of few officials, for the greed of governments, the people of Bengaluru should suffer?
With that, a quick roundup of the other stories coming in. Several BJP supporters were injured while staging a massive demonstration against the TMC under the banner Nabanna Abhiyan in Howrah. Mega face-off erupted between the BJP workers and West Bengal police while they arrived for the Nabanna Abhiyan. Meanwhile, the TMC camp has hit out at the BJP, calling it an event to create unrest in the state. Several BJP leaders, including BJP West Bengal Chief Suvendu Adhikari, Locket Chatterjee, Rahul Sinha, all of them were taken into preventive custody during the protest, as well as Suvendu Adhikari. Moving on now, well, days after Congress MP Rahul Gandhi met a pastor in Kanyakumari who is known for his anti-Hindu rhetoric, LIDMK's leader A. Raja has triggered a fresh controversy. While addressing an event in Tamil Nadu's Namakkal last week, the DMK MP said that Shudras, who are at the bottom of the Varna system, are children of prostitutes and they will remain so as long as they practice Hinduism. He went on to add that so long as they are Hindus, you become untouchable. Listen in to the shocker of a story coming in 21st century progressive India.
ஆனால் உச்சநீதிமன்றம் சொல்லுகிறது இல்லை, நீ கிறிஸ்தவனாக இல்லை என்றால், நீ இஸ்லாமியாக இல்லை என்றால், நீ பர்சியனாக இல்லை என்றால் நீ இந்துவாகத்தான் இருக்க வேண்டும் என்று உச்சநீதிமன்றம் சொல்லுகிறது. இப்படிப்பட்ட கொடுமை வேறு எந்த நாட்டிலாவது உண்டா? இந்துவாக இருக்கிறவரை சூத்திரன், சூத்திரனாக இருக்கிறவரை நீ விபச்சாரியின் மகன், இந்துவாக இருக்கிறவரை நீ பஞ்சவன், இந்துவாக இருக்கிறவரை நீ தீண்டத்தகாதவன். எத்தனை பேர் விபச்சாரி மகனாக இருக்க விரும்புகிறீர்கள், எத்தனை பேர் தீண்டத்தகவனாக இருக்க விரும்புகிறீர்கள் என்கின்ற கேள்வியை உறக்க சொன்னால்தான் அது சனாதனத்தை முறியடிக்கின்ற அடிநாதமாக அமையும் என்பதை விடுதலையும் முரசொலியும் திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகமும் திராவிடர் கழகம் எடுக்க வேண்டிய காலம் வந்துவிட்டது.
Meanwhile, the BJP has accused the DMK of targeting Hinduism with the sole objective of appeasing other communities.
See, this is highly condemnable, and you can't expect more from A. Raja, because he is a habitual offender like this. But unfortunately, we have been saying that, in fact today also he has tweeted saying that Manusmriti says that. He should know that Smriti means Upatesa. So Manusmriti is not a book. He says that it is written in Manusmriti. But who wrote Manusmriti? It was written by Sir William Jones, a British person. So these people are trying to create confusion among the Hindu society.
However, the DMK has backed its leader, A. Raja. DMK has also launched a tirade against Hinduism or Sanatan Dharma. In fact, remember in July, DMK spokesperson R. Rajiv Gandhi had said that Brahmins should be killed as directed by Periyar. 2 months prior to the shocking comments, leader of the DMK LIVCK had vowed to launch an agitation against Sanatan Dharma in different villages as well.
Purpose of the Dravidian movement is to create parity among human beings. What is Hinduism? What does Hinduism say? It says Varna, it speaks of Manu Dharma. What we feel is our fight is against Manu Dharma. When a Hindu, another Hindu, my brother Hindu could not walk into a street where upper class people live, it's an insult. Entry of the Sanskrit and Hinduism into this land has spoiled this land.
செங்கொடியின் இந்த நினைவு நாளில் விடுதலை, தமிழ்நாடுடைய முழுமையான விடுதலை, தமிழர்களுடைய உரிமை, இந்திய ஒன்றியத்திலிருந்து தமிழ்நாடு என்பது ஒரு தனித்துவமான நாடு என்பதை அடைவது என்பதுதான் செங்கொடி அவர்களுக்கு நாம் செலுத்தக்கூடிய உறுதிமொழி, கடமை என்று சொல்லி செங்கொடிக்கு வீர வணக்கம் செலுத்தி விடைபெறுகிறேன். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
But with that, a quick break here on News Pulse. Don't go anywhere. We're returning in 2 minutes. Alert, big breaking news which is coming in. Pakistan's terror deception is now exposed. Watch how they pass the buck on shielding terrorists. Pakistan's written a letter to Afghanistan to arrest Maulana Masood Azhar, the head of the band Jaish-e-Mohammed. Well, according to the text of the letter written by Pakistan, Azhar is possibly in Nangarhar and in some of the areas in Afghanistan, so that he should be found and reported and immediately arrested. Sources say that the letter for the arrest of Masood Azhar was written by Pakistan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. In fact, on the other hand, remember, the spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs refrained from talking about the issue. He called it sensitive. So clearly, Pakistan is back to its old tricks, and this deception really isn't fooling anyone. This is the way it is now, passing the buck across to Afghanistan. Let me go across to Srinjoy Chaudhary, our consulting editor. This is a complete farce, Srinjoy. We all know how Pakistan is in cahoots with the Taliban regime in Afghanistan in harboring terrorists. Will this fool the FATF, which they hope to achieve?
Well, the FATF issue is coming up today. So all this could just be a smokescreen. Because if you see, Maulana Masood Azhar is a creation of the ISI. The Jaish-e-Mohammed is a creation of the ISI. It's nothing beyond that. To tell Afghanistan that Maulana Masood Azhar is sitting in Afghanistan and arrest him, well, let's not forget that the Home Minister or the Interior Minister of Afghanistan is a Pakistan stooge. His name is Suvendu Adhikari. The Interior Minister is a man who looks after law and order.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's quite a farce that they are trying to pull wool over the eyes of FATF, but it's really not fooling anyone. Thank you so much, Srinjoy. Meanwhile, there is no end to the politics over Varanasi District Court's decision holding the Hindu side's plea in the Gyanvapi case as maintainable. In fact, a day after AIMIM Chief Asaduddin Owaisi sought to stoke fears of Babri repeat, PDP Chief Mehbooba Mufti said that the court's decision will be leading to rabble-rousing and even create communal atmosphere, which furthers the BJP's agenda. She even said that India may become Vishwaguru in demolishing mosques. Listen into some of these shockers.
बीजेपी के पास लोगों को देने के लिए रोजगार नहीं है, महंगाई का कोई इलाज नहीं कर सकते, लोग दिन ब दिन गरीब होते जा रहे हैं, दो लोगों को छोड़ के जो दुनिया के अमीर तरीन बिजनेसमैन बन रहे हैं, बाकी सब गरीब होते जा रहे हैं। तो उससे ध्यान हटाने के लिए हिंदू मुस्लिम और उसके लिए मुसलमानों की मस्जिदें जो है तोड़ने का बड़ा अच्छा ये तरीका है, इसमें हिंदू मुस्लिम का झगड़ा कराओ। हो सकता है विश्व गुरु हम किसी और चीज में न बने, मस्जिदें तोड़ने में बन जाए।
Meanwhile, AIMIM Chief Asaduddin Owaisi stood by the remarks he made yesterday, once again claiming that the court's verdict will destabilize the country. Listen in to the way that BJP is now accusing him and others of fear-mongering.
Whatever I have told you, my dear friend Sumit, I still stand by it. What I have to speak about my party, I have told about it. I have said that this verdict will lead to that is what I have said, and I stand by it.
Let him create. He'll be the first one to go inside, and we know, because there's a fundamental difference between a temple and a mosque. It was broken, there's no doubt about it. Can he say that Aurangzeb didn't break it? He has written a farman, Aurangzeb himself. And so, therefore, we have said the 40,000 temples are being demolished. We are not asking for all 40,000 to be replaced.
Well, moving on now, it's a massive setback to the Aam Aadmi Party as a Delhi court convicted two of its MLAs, sitting MLAs at that, Akhilesh Pati Tripathi and Sanjeev Jha, along with 15 others, for being part of a mob that wreaked havoc in Delhi 2015. The court said that both the politicians not only were provoking and inciting the mob, but they were active participants of the mob, which attacked policemen at the Burari police station.
This is the office of Akhilesh Pati Tripathi, who was convicted yesterday along with 15 others for being the part of the mob that attacked a policeman at Burari police station in North Delhi in 2015. Interesting thing, while walking towards his office, it has been written by the black paint, "Aapka Bahishkar" over here. This particular way leads to his residence over here of Akhilesh Pati Tripathi. But you can clearly see this is the gate of his office, but it has been shut. Today morning he tried to call him, but no answers were given as far as the MLA is concerned.
Also tell you how the conviction has now armed the opposition, highlighting the danga taint on the Aam Aadmi Party. They asked whether Kejriwal will remove the rioters from his party. Listen in to the opposition's attacks.
आम आदमी पार्टी के 2 विधायक एक 7 साल पुराने केस में, जिसमें दंगे फैलाने के आरोप हैं इनके ऊपर, पुलिस के साथ मारपीट करने के आरोप हैं और उसमें दोषी करार दिया गया। एक बार फिर आम आदमी पार्टी का वो क्रिमिनल, वो घिनौना चेहरा सामने आया उनके नेताओं का कि किस तरह से आम आदमी पार्टी वास्तविकता से और जो सामने दिखते हैं, कहते कुछ हैं और करते कुछ हैं, ये चेहरा उनका सामने आया है। मैं अरविंद केजरीवाल से मांग करता हूं अविलंब आम आदमी पार्टी से निष्कासित करके ही नहीं, उनको विधायकी से भी उनकी सदस्यता रद्द होनी चाहिए।
What do you tell about a party where the chief secretary of the state was assaulted in front of the chief minister? This is a culture which is so crazy. I knew the chief secretary, and the question is, when you assault the chief secretary and the CM is standing there. So if this is the kind of thing, obviously MLAs are going to assault police officers.
However, the Aam Aadmi Party has pinned the entire blame on the BJP, saying that it is that party, the saffron party, which is an expert in instigating riots.
कि में एक छोटे बच्चे का अपहरण हुआ, अपहरणकर्ता को लोगों ने रंगे हाथों बच्चे के साथ पकड़ा और उस बच्चे को वो पुलिस स्टेशन में जाके ले गए और पुलिस स्टेशन में कहा गया कि आप इसके ऊपर मुकदमा दर्ज करें। दिल्ली पुलिस ने उस अपहरणकर्ता के ऊपर कोई मुकदमा दर्ज नहीं किया और उन माँ बाप ने, उन मोहल्ले वालों ने, उन स्थानीय लोगों ने पुलिस पे दबाव बनाया कि आप मुकदमा तो दर्ज कीजिए। पुलिस ने चिढ़कर स्थानीय लोगों पे और स्थानीय विधायकों के ऊपर जो है मुकदमा बना दिया, और ऐसा मुकदमा जिसके अंदर मुकदमा करने वाली भी पुलिस है, गवाह भी पुलिस है।
Well, that's all we could pack in for you in this show. Thank you for watching. With that, it's time for India Up Front. Over to our editor-in-chief, Rahul Shivshankar.
Thanks indeed, Meghna. Thanks indeed. Yes, viewers, once again, the biggest story of the day on India Up Front. Viewers, the TMC's Supremo Mamata Banerjee and Bengal's Chief Minister. Her politics was forged in the cauldron of agitational politics. You may not agree with Mamata Banerjee's views, but you can't deny that she has used the power of dissent to further Indian democracy. At times, as this picture proves, at great risk